What's up? How is everybody? I'm supposed to need some headphones.
That would make your life easier.
Smart speakers everywhere. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your great news and weather station. News powered by Kramer Interiors. Stickley, Hancock, Beach, Alexander, and Henriette. You're invited to their home. See Kramer Interiors on University Drive in Granger.
I've been coming here for years.
Oi.
Entertainment, gotta love the atmosphere here at Four Winds.
This weekend, why not make some memories with friends and family at Four Winds Field and your South End Cubs. Starting Saturday,
Nice, Dean.
55-inch flat screen TV, one given away every inning, courtesy of WSBT TV. Plus, Star Wars night, dresses as
Those
characters
darn white kids.
Star Wars jersey. Proceeds to benefit South End Cubs charity.
Oh, those darn white kids, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, those excavators are up
Sunday,
today.
it's a fun day.
What?
Play catch on the field before the game with autographs from noon to 1. Presented by Dairy Queen and
Thank you, Daisy.
Plus, be one of the first 1,000 fans through the gates for a backpack giveaway.
It's nice having a good hat that I can wear on most days.
Special night of spectacular fireworks after the game. Presented by First Source Bank and WNDU TV.
Man, Joe Biden is just having a bad fair in Iowa. It's not been going well for the old man.
The barbecue out all ready to grill. That's why he trusts Super Hollywood, so he can enjoy his steak with full confidence.
Yup. 'Tis backwards hat day.
Sounds like there's a
Do I got glasses on still? I'll take those off.
but
There you go.
something's missing.
Those are good money.
That is
The other
true.
thing we should do is we should challenge these students.
Yeah!
We should challenge
Yeah, challenge them. Challenge them to not be white.
The copperhead.
Damn white kids. And their stupid gay reusable grocery bags. Got a new story about that.
That's the
I did see that.
Did you see that?
Tank overflowing into their black one, which is backing into their vent pipe, making for a very
How fragile must one
kind of
masculinity
attack.
be? That is the question.
We will.
How fragile must one's masculinity be
When it gets
for
to
them
one,
not
Progressive
wanting you to
will be
be
covering
free?
it today at progressive.com.
I don't know, fragile enough to be a liberal? Oh, what's up, Julie? Okie dokie. Here we go. We got to deal with those darn white kids.
On News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and sensation.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Happy Friday for most of you out there. I mean, it's Friday for everybody, but for most of you, it is actually Friday. For some of you, you have to work tomorrow, and that sucks, but at least I'm not you. Anyway, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send me a text message at 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Don't forget, in the final hour every single Friday, that's from 5 to 6, we do the final hour free-for-all, and that is where you get to call about any issue you want. It is open lines. All right, I want to thank Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. And if you go to secondamendmentarms.net, you can get all their contact information. If you go out there, you mention me, you get all sorts of discounts, including half off your range time. So if you're looking for a great activity over the weekend, then certainly Second Amendment Arms and Range is the place to go. All right, so I'm going to get to those darned white kids. I'm going to get to that. But first, I want to go ahead. I want to play something. I want to play something for you. Okay. Sorry. My wife just sent me a message. She's like, the kids have no idea it's you. So we've got a camera in the house, and you can talk through the camera. And I've been harassing my kids for the past few minutes in the living room, and they have no idea it's me who's coming through the camera. They think it's a Pokemon on TV who's doing it. So anyway, sorry. Joe Biden is not having another good week. What the debate was a week ago? He didn't have a good day that day either. That week was pretty bad for him. That night in particular was bad for him. But Joe Biden, let's just sum up his day today. He's assaulted a woman, and he's made another racial gaffe. I mean, there's other stupid things that he has said, but I want you to pay attention to this. By the way, if you start seeing Katie trending, this is going to be wise. I'm going to go ahead and play this. Cue my audio for me, Joe. I want people to hear this girl describe how Joe Biden assaulted her. And we have video. Joe Biden assaulted her. The assault part is the modern definition of assault, just so you know. It's the assault that feminists keep telling us is assault. And the Me Too movement says is assault. So I just want you to understand that I'm simply playing by their rules, and their rules dictate now that Joe Biden, an old white guy, has assaulted a young woman. So anyway, here's how that went down.
My name is Katie. I am born and raised in Iowa, and I am currently a student in Iowa. Today, I showed up at the state fair to ask former Vice President Joe Biden a question about gender. When I asked the question, it took a few seconds for the question to register, and then he responded with 3. I asked a follow-up question. I asked, okay, what are they? Joe Biden looked at me and said, don't mess with me, kid. I turned to walk away, and then it doesn't stop there. He grabs my arm and pulls me back to make eye contact with him again, and he yells something about marriage at me.
Thank you, man. By the way, first one came out for marriage.
So I walked away, and I was mad, just very, very mad that someone would actually treat me like that.
All right, you can't really hear anything. So let me just kind of play this for you. And by the way, I posted this at theburningtruth.us. So if you want to go ahead and watch the video, he does grab her without a doubt. Now, before I go further, I want to remind everybody about a little incident that happened with a candidate, President Trump. Okay, I know he's not president then, but he's president now, and you know what I'm conflating the two timelines. So anyway, candidate Donald Trump. Michelle Fields is a reporter. Michelle Fields says that Corey Lewandowski, one of Trump's right-hand men, manhandled her and assaulted her. Ben Shapiro quit Breitbart.com over the refusal of Breitbart to back Michelle Fields in this incident. Okay. What did Corey Lewandowski do? And by the way, the media for weeks, and then it came back up again months later, the media were after Corey Lewandowski. Michelle Fields filed a criminal charge. Okay. The media was out there telling everybody that Donald Trump was covering for somebody who beat up a woman, and that Michelle Fields is a victim of assault, and that is the climate that Trump creates in his campaign, that he's got men running around and assaulting female reporters, even conservative female reporters who work for Breitbart.com. Now, we ended up finding out that Michelle Fields lied to everybody about what happened. Now, what did actually happen, though? Corey Lewandowski, after Michelle Fields violated the Secret Service bubble around Donald Trump, and she broke the rules after being informed that she could not approach from this angle, approaches Donald Trump, breaks the security bubble, and Corey Lewandowski, doing his job, reaches out with his hand and grabs her arm. That was the extent of that whole thing. So that led to media, conservatives, Republicans, moderates, everybody claiming that Corey Lewandowski had assaulted Michelle Fields. She was the victim of abuse. Donald Trump had endorsed it and excused it. And Michelle Fields ultimately got charges brought against Corey Lewandowski, which were dropped later, by the way. There was a criminal investigation about him assaulting this woman simply by grabbing her arm. Guess what Joe Biden did today? Joe Biden grabbed Katie's arm, and it's all on camera. And we actually have the footage right away with this one. We did not have the footage right away with the Corey Lewandowski thing. It took a while to get the surveillance footage, which actually showed what had happened and proved that Michelle Fields was trying to Duke lacrosse Corey Lewandowski and lie about all of this. And you still got, by the way, I just heard an interview with Ben Shapiro the other day where Ben Shapiro is still butthurt about how Michelle Fields is treated by Corey Lewandowski in spite of the fact that she completely lied about it. And I still think that he's trying to get in the sack with her. Not that I blame him. She's gorgeous, but I still think that that's what Shapiro's ultimate goal was. So this incident with Joe Biden today is, as far as the physical contact is concerned, is nearly identical to the Corey Lewandowski-Michelle Fields fiasco a couple of years ago. The only difference is I've been listening and watching the news all day today. It has been about how Joe Biden is stumping at the Iowa State Fair, and Joe Biden is saying this, and Joe Biden is talking about this, and Joe Biden is trying to raise money and getting votes by doing this. There isn't a lot of coverage, including on Fox, of Joe Biden manhandling a young lady who asked him a question. Now, again, if this girl goes up to him and says, how many genders are there? And he says, well, there's more than there's at least 3. And she goes, okay, well, what are they? And he says, don't mess with me, young lady. And then at that point, she goes to walk away. He reaches out. He grabs her arm. It's on camera. I'm staring at it. He grabs her arm. He pulls her in. She didn't know what he said about marriage, but we're able to go ahead and hear it a little bit better with the camera. And he says, I was one of the first to come out, or one of the first to come out for marriage was me. And I assume that he means same-sex marriage. But Joe Biden grabbed this girl, pulled her towards him in the exact same fashion as Corey Lewandowski did to Michelle Fields. So the media made Corey Lewandowski out to be some kind of woman beater, and nobody's even mentioned Joe Biden doing this today on traditional press. What in the world is going on? Now, I know that you know what's going on, but isn't that interesting? How they treat the situations completely different in spite of the fact that they are almost identical. Now, the big difference here is that Michelle Fields actually violated a security instruction that all of the reporters in the room had been given. She broke the rules. This young lady, Katie, didn't break any rules. She was simply asking a politician a question. She wasn't confrontational about it. She just simply asked him, how many genders are there? He said, more than 3. What are they? And at that point, he started getting butthurt about it. And then she went to walk away, and he grabs her arm and pulls her into him and then makes the comment about marriage. But again, in the Me Too movement, this has basically been the rule for the past couple of years. You are not allowed to grab a woman that way. It is abuse. And I have hours of clips and commentary and discussion on cable news networks and even conservative talk shows and all sorts of conservative podcasters and columnists and everybody on the left talking about how Corey Lewandowski was a woman beater because he grabbed Michelle Fields' arm after she violated the security perimeter at a Trump event. And here's Joe Biden doing the exact same thing, grabbing this young lady in almost the exact same fashion as Corey Lewandowski grabbed Michelle Fields. And nobody is making the abuse claim at all against him? That's just Uncle Joe, ladies and gentlemen. It's just Uncle Joe. We'll take your phone calls on this, and then we're going to tell you about the other horrible thing that Joe Biden did today. That's all coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Yep. Weather served up by the Prime Table in Niles. 25 years of exceptional food, tremendous service, and great
There's
people.
a thing going on with a bunch of squad cars in the house. I don't know what it is.
Barbecue?
No. Apparently, like
Plenty of sunshine today with temperatures warming up to 78 degrees. Going to be a gorgeous one to get outside with a little calmer winds. We'll be right around 56 for the overnight low underneath those clear skies. And then for Saturday, a high near 80 with plenty of sunshine lasting throughout really the entire weekend. For Sunday, though, the humidity does start to go back up, as well as temperatures climbing near 84 degrees. We'll see mostly sunny skies start to turn partly cloudy with a chance for a shower or storm once we get to late in the evening, but most of the day does stay dry. For Monday, a mixed sun and clouds again, highs at once again near 84. A chance for a few showers late in the evening, and it looks more likely for widespread scattered showers and thunderstorms once we reach Tuesday. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ellen Kennedy.
95.3 MNC keeps you on time. Weekday mornings with traffic and weather every 10 minutes on the 6s during Michiana's Morning News with Mark McGill. And before your drive comes to a grinding halt, get traffic alerts direct to your cell phone. Text news to 45364 from the station that keeps you moving on air, online, and on your cell. From News Talk 95.3 Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
When those giant scissors come out for a grand opening ceremony, it's the staff that's in the photo. Behind the scenes of any office or industrial build are numerous contractors tirelessly taking dreams from drawing board to reality with precision, on schedule, and on budget. From the very first step to the final phase, you need the trusted experience of a team who knows how to get the job done. Final Phase Electric has the tools and the experience to make your dreams a reality.
All right.
And can step in at any time to assess your project with a level of
Doobie-doobie-doo.
precision that throws guesswork out the window. We believe in positive people, and we're positive that we can help you with your commercial or industrial project.
What's up, Clever? How you doing? Over on the Twitch. Sorry, I had to update the blog post of the Corey Lewandowski bit. I didn't have it in there. So many things. Has Ben Shapiro even commented on Joe Biden today? Kind of curious if he has. I would go check on Twitter, but I can't. What's up, Barbaros?
Your favorite Mexican restaurant, Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. Monterey's breakfast menu boasts the same high quality of the day, made fresh daily to keep you coming back week after week. Try Mexican and American.
Alrighty.
With some new items mixed in alongside your favorite hot and cold breakfast beverages. With 3 alcoholic.
By the way, I love saying that Michelle Fields tried to Duke lacrosse Corey Lewandowski because that triggers so many effing people. It's ridiculous. I guess so many people who are absolutely crazy about that whole situation. They still maintain that he somehow assaulted a woman who violated a security perimeter after everybody was given instructions. But go figure. Ooh, Speed's got Shamrock all up in there. Thanks, Speed. Speed's got to catch Tracy one bit at a time. You're almost there, bud.
You are unique, and we're willing to put in the time and effort to ensure you receive a plan that's tailored just for you. Give us a call today for a free consultation.
Yeah, old Trump's got the Second Amendment crowd a little pissed off today, doesn't he?
Healthcare emergencies, stock market volatility, and taxation. Let's get to work right now to get you on the road with financial confidence. 866-482-9559. We're here to talk about you.
And the thing is, I teased the Mike Braun bit because Mike Braun yesterday basically said the same thing that President Trump was saying. I mean, a little bit more vague, but...
Get ready. Cash for Trash is back. From R&B car company in Warsaw, South Bend, with 600 vehicles to choose from, $2,500 minimum for your trade, or an additional $2,500 for your routine beater. Clunker's gotta go. We'll take bikes.
I'm surprised I have as much energy as I have. I haven't slept in 2 damn days.
Minimum for your trade. Payments as low as $99 a month with approved credit. Push, pull, or drag it in. Just be careful with the beater. Cash for Trash in soon. Shop now at rvcarcompany.com.
All right, here we go. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95, 95.3. That is 2595-953. Casey, also, how dare crazy Uncle Joe assume her gender? You know what? That's a really good point. Now, I think she might be with TPUSA. I don't know. I know the Turning Point USA did a video interview or posted a video interview with her with their tag on it. I don't know who this girl is. I don't know if she believes there's only 2 genders or if she believes that there are more genders. I have no idea what she thinks. But is it safe to say that if you're running for political office in 2019 for the 2020 election, that if somebody approaches you and asks you a question about how many genders there are, that maybe you shouldn't assume their gender. That might be the best thing to do if you're a Democrat. And of course, Joe did. He assumed her gender, which of course I'm assuming her gender, but there are only two. So I'm just deducing based on the pictures that I've seen of her. Anyway, to the phone lines we go. 574-2595, 95.3. Robert, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, the question was about Slow Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Is that his real name, or is he also known as Danny Crane?
I don't know what that means.
Boston Legal.
I never watched a single episode of that.
It's on every day, 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I never watched it before. It's on, like that. I'm retired now.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to, if you, it's one of those things, young people don't understand type things.
Young people don't understand. Okay. I just don't watch network television. So.
Well, like I said, I'm retired now.
I got you.
So I'm going to do.
Well, when I'm retired, I will watch Boston Legal.
I have no idea when it's was on because I never watched it before then.
Oh, okay. All right. So
but anyway, William Shatner played. He had Alzheimer's, and they said it was mad cow, and he kept touching women. That's the whole thing.
Okay. All right. So he had some kind of okay. So he couldn't control himself. There was some kind of a thing where he was always touching people.
Absolutely. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Now that makes a little makes a little bit more sense.
Right. Okay. It's terrible when you have to explain the joke.
I know. It's what happens when you don't watch network television, I guess. Yeah.
Now, who's this?
Well, I'm David. Yeah, and you're Robert, right? Yeah.
Right. You're kind of like you're just not testing. You're just just make sure it's okay. Then
okay.
Then I won't be on, but yeah. That's the only thing I do.
Oh, that's okay. I will, Robert. I will explain it to Casey before I put you on the air. How about that?
No, I don't really want to. Okay.
Okay. I got you.
Okay, but
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Like I said, just
well, we always appreciate the call. I got to screen some more calls though, Robert. Okay, I appreciate it. But,
but so far everything I've said, nothing has ever come on.
Okay.
Okay. All right, but like I said, Slow Joe is compared with Danny Crane, which, like I said, how old are you?
Oh, me, 22.
Yeah. Okay, you're like the other day when I called in, the guy was 19.
19, yeah. Well, they hire us young people because they don't want to really pay us that much. So
you need the money.
Yes, that's it, man. It's that or sell my body, and I'm not good looking. So.
Well, hey, I'm 70.
Okay. You know what, Robert? You might be able to find somebody. You never know. All right, I do. I got my phone lines are ringing. I got to answer these other calls, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. All right.
Only if I pay for it.
All right. You take care. All right. Bye-bye. Okay. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. All right. Cue up my audio again because Joe Biden had another gaffe today. You ready for this? Here's Joe Biden talking about those darned white kids.
And the other thing we should do is we should challenge these students. We should challenge students in these schools to have advanced placement programs in these schools. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian
those
kids.
Poor kids.
I really mean it, but think how we think about it.
Those poor kids are just as talented as the white kids. Do you need a better poster for white privilege than that? Those poor kids are just as talented as the white kids are. And that at some point, the last two brain cells that he has kicks in and says, you shouldn't have said that. And say, oh, okay, I'm going to start adding other kids on. Good God, Joe. Here's the thing. Can I just say this right now? If Joe Biden continues to get support and actually continues on after with polling and money and people continue to give to him and say that they're supporting the guy, if that continues to happen, I am going to believe one of two things, okay? Number one, somebody is in fact running Operation Chaos again, and we just didn't know. And the goal is to get Biden as the nominee because, let's be perfectly honest, he's going to be easy for Trump to beat. 2, everybody in the Democratic base would then assume that all of the other candidates are so bad that Joe Biden is still the best of the bunch, even after all of this mess. And that right there could tell you an awful lot about the base of the Democratic Party, because the polling says the base of the Democratic Party is actually more ideologically aligned with Joe Biden than they are with the other candidates. The other candidates, again, are way left of Joe Biden. And Joe Biden's way left, too. Don't get me wrong. It's just that he's not what I would call borderline communist left. He's just very progressive left. And the Democratic Party is somewhere between center left and left, not crazy socialist or communist left. And Joe Biden kind of fits that bill better than any of the other candidates. So again, one of two things would be happening if Joe Biden continues to be a major player here going forward. Either somebody's running Operation Chaos and there is a huge conservative push to get Joe Biden elected, which I have not heard of, which is weird because usually I get those emails, especially if the Illuminati's doing it. And the other thing is that I guess that you would have to assume that Democrats feel that the other candidates are so insane and crazy that Joe Biden is still their best option to not get an insane person as the nominee, which is weird saying that Joe Biden isn't insane because he kind of is. But again, so he assaults a woman today, according to the media standard of what assault is. And again, you go back to the Corey Lewandowski, Michelle Fields fiasco a couple of years ago. And the media made it very clear that Corey Lewandowski grabbing Michelle Fields' arm was assault. So much so that they actually pursued criminal charges against him. And the other thing is that Joe Biden is out there saying, those poor kids, they could be just as good as white kids. Because again, there's no poor white kids in the country and there's no well-off non-whites in the country. Anyway, we got a lot to get to today. Don't forget, the 5 o'clock hour means open lines, so you get to go ahead and bring up any issue you want starting at 5 o'clock. That's, again, open lines, any topic. I mean that when I say that. And we've got a lot more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and 95.3MNC.com.
I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this afternoon, there's a fundraiser this weekend for a young girl in Claypool fighting a rare brain cancer.
8-year-old Peyton Slaymaker first complained of trouble with her eyes last month and was diagnosed soon after with a cancer commonly referred to as DIPG. Around 300 children receive this diagnosis each year and experience tumor growth, which affects speech, vision, breathing, heartbeat, and more. A fundraising carnival party will be held at the Warsaw Family Worship Center tomorrow, which will raise funds to help cover the family's medical costs. You can also find a link to a family fundraiser with this story at 953mnc.com.
95.3 MNC's John Zimney reporting. And a Goshen man is in critical condition after he was struck by a vehicle while riding his bicycle.
It happened late Thursday afternoon in the 11,000 block of Pierce Road in Madison Township. Investigators say a Jeep driven by a 30-year-old woman was traveling westbound on Pierce Road when it collided with the back of the bicycle. The 49-year-old bicyclist was wearing a helmet at the time.
I was just trying to help Alex with the diamond thing.
The victim was airlifted to the hospital with a serious head injury.
No, stymy trichotillomania is a pain in the neck, dude.
95.3 MNC's Brooklyn Beatty.
We wish for the path through your life, only beautiful moments. What the hell is that?
Being nice.
Huh?
Being nice.
As being nice? Are you sure?
No.
Or is that somebody trying to shove their green aura juice all over me? Moist aura juice. I expected more reaction from all of you guys. Now maybe it just got buried. I don't know. I expected more reaction from my conversation with Robert. I thought that was funny.
Something.
I feel like that has to be its own video. Yeah, see? Thank you, Clever. Got 4 bits from Clever. Got another bit from Clever. Huh? What?
Dude, his avatar has headphones in. You're not allowed to wear headphones during cartoon. It's the rule.
Ooh, that cheater. Gonna get him. Gonna get him good.
Conditioning Professional's first warning forecasts.
Plenty of sunshine today with temperatures warming up to 78 degrees. Once we get through tonight, we drop down to about 56 for the overnight low. Underneath those clear skies, and then for Saturday, a high near 80. Still plenty of sunshine.
I'm sure Boston Legal is a good show, Mom. I'm sure it is. I just...
In the ABC57 First Morning Neighborhood Weather Center.
I mean, I've heard of it. I honestly, I don't think that I have watched more than 30 seconds of it.
Closing farm market report. I'm Andy Eubank. Mixed markets, mostly higher to end the week as we get set for the new Eastern Monday USDA.
There's no watch ad option, huh?
Crop report. And the
well, that's strange. Joe, why wouldn't there be a watch ad option?
Going up and down, but finishing on a rather positive note.
Is it because he's an admin of the channel? Could that be? It might be because you're an admin, Alex.
March down a quarter at 428.25.
Kathy! 5 exclamation points. What's up?
Novi 891.75. January 904.
I got Jess and Steven says he's dead. I'm sorry about that, Steven. Where do I send the flowers? Yeah, but he says DEAD. So, but are you sure? Maybe somebody's just using his account. I need to be able to send him flowers, okay? I mean, not real flowers, fake flowers, because they're cheaper. They're at the dollar store, but I want to send flowers anyway. Stymie with a TJ Hooker reference. Nice. Now, that was a good show. TJ Hooker was awesome. Yeah, Frank, I think that's what that guy was trying to say, was that William Shatner was the one that couldn't stop touching people.
His character.
Yeah, and for the record, William Shatner on this program is known as the Shat, because that's who he is. Hey, Speed, with 13 bits. Thanks, man. Look at that. I got a nice little bit war happening. Tracy says she watches ads on channel she mods, so that shouldn't be the problem.
I don't know.
Oh, he just watched and got 10 bits. Oh, that's cool.
That's 10 whole cents.
That's 10 cents, man. You know what that is? 10 more cents than I had before. He did. He gave them to me. So we got Clever, we got Tracy, we got Speed. They're all doing the bit thing. Thank you, guys. It's awesome. Yes, Tracy, you're still number one.
You are number one.
You are number one. Now, if you want to kick in like 1 million bits, just to ensure that you stay number one, I mean, that would be okay too.
But not with ZipRecruiter. It's powerful technology.
Oh, I haven't even looked at the text messages.
Qualified candidates to apply to a job. That's why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
People are asking me to block somebody on Facebook. So, when I posted the Joe Biden thing, they said, I read your article about grabby hands on Joe Biden. I agree with you on the whole situation concerning him and Lewandowski. I did notice on the Facebook article, the current troll that follows you, there's only one, had to make his usual intelligent comment, is it time to block him? I don't know, I haven't seen what it is. So, tell you what, why don't you all go to facebook.com/Casey the host and go to the article that I posted up there about Joe Biden, and you make a determination about how it should be handled. And if you want to just harass the troll, then by all means harass the troll. If you don't. It's fine. It's entirely up to you. Casey, I tuned in the middle of that phone call. Why didn't you announce to everybody you were interviewing Joe Biden? Let's see.
Having that private weekend, it really didn't cost you hardly any money, but you had a great time. My salespeople will spend quite a bit of time trying to figure out what they're wanting to do.
Biden versus Trump is a win-win. Either 4 more years of a prosperous economy or a 4-year-long comedy show. I'm not going to lie. President Biden would be great for my career. There's no doubt about that.
This is Dave Ramsey here to talk about Rain Drain. Rain Drain is your
See, Dean's got the idea. 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. All for Casey. Stand up and holla. FYI, my doctor confirmed for August 30th for Pass the Mic. So, she's in. Of course, I had her at Margaritas. She was like, what, Margaritas? I'm in. So, yeah, my doc will be there August 30th at Pass the Mic at Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill, and she will be discussing direct primary care, what it is, since so many of you have questions about that, and she will also address the carnivore diet. So, there will be that.
Then head lettuce is 88 cents each. Beefsteak tomatoes are 88 cents a pound. Our family bacon is 2 for $5, and Martin's white bread is 99 cents each. Plus, more items in other departments too. It's the 2-day truckload sale, Friday and Saturday, only at your neighborhood Martin's.
Susie's in. There you go. All right, here we go. More stuff and more things.
Industrial and commercial electrical. This is Casey Hendricks.
Look, okay, listen, like, I don't, there's some people who are texting me, and they are asking if I can ban somebody on the Facebook. And just because my ex-girlfriend trolls on the Facebook page and is obsessed with me and wants to go ahead and, get me to give their t-shirts back and things like that, just because my ex-girlfriend is on the Facebook page, I am not in any way, shape, or form going to ban them. If they want to continue to stalk me, I'll let them do it. As long as it doesn't get bigoted or threatening in any way, they're allowed to go ahead and follow me. It is a public forum. The only people I've ever banned on Facebook have either been bigots or people who have made threats or harassed other individuals. And so that's where I draw the line. Those are the rules, and they usually get a warning on that. But if the ex-girlfriend wants to continue to harass and stalk and everything else because they just can't let me go, then that is on them. If you all want to police the community, it's entirely up to you. If you want to police the community on Facebook at facebook.com/Casey the host. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 25-95-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Okay, do want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. And as always, if you mention me, you get half off your range time. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. So a philanthropist has pledged $100,000. How come I can't run into a philanthropist who wants to pledge $100,000 to me for anything? I mean, I would do a lot of good with $100,000. Well, okay, I would do a lot of good with $10,000 of the $100,000, but the rest of it would have to go to me. But I could make a lot happen for $10,000. So anyway, this philanthropist has offered $100,000 to clean up Baltimore if, and this is the caveat, if the Baltimore Sun retracts their hit piece on the volunteers who cleaned up a section of the city, which we talked about earlier in the week. Let's see, what do we have here? Scott Pressler on Twitter. Some people were believing that the people of Baltimore just don't care or they want to live that way, and that's just not true. They don't want to live that way. I think they just needed somebody to show love, and that's what we did. And again, about 300 people ended up volunteering to help clean up these areas in West Baltimore. And they were very successful. If you looked at the videos and the pictures, I mean, they really did clean up in great fashion, by the way. Not just trash and things of that nature, but weeds, pulling weeds out. There was the WBAL, the local news outfit over there. They did a whole piece on how great they were with cleaning up one particular alleyway that had been impassable, and now you could actually walk through the alleyway without, worrying about Pizza the Hut coming out and taking you hostage. Let's see. Baltimore Sun's editorial board decided to trash Pressler in the form of an op-ed. Whatever he says his motives are, Scott Pressler's presence in Baltimore reinforces the tired image that the poor people in this city can't take care of their own neighborhoods. And again, we've got somebody on camera before Pressler did all of this who said the neighborhood had been like that for 54 years. And he said that to the old mayor, the mayor who resigned after getting a SWAT team raid on her house. We also hope that Mr. Pressler keeps his promise to return to Baltimore once a month. It would definitely give his motives more credibility. Like I said, what a condescending pile of crap the Baltimore Sun is. Here's the thing. They're upset, and I know that I covered this, I think, yesterday. They're upset that an outsider came to their city and did what they always refused to do, which was help the people in their city. Now, they found trash that dated back to the day after President Obama was inaugurated for the first time. So that is, 10, 11 years ago? I mean, that is a long, long time. And that trash has just been sitting there. So nobody did anything. None of the politicians did anything. Obviously, people in the neighborhood didn't do anything. But if it's been that way for 54 years, like I said before, if your neighborhood is all trashed and you're not proud of it, you just kind of, you come to a point where there's acceptance, right? It's one of those 7 steps of dealing with tragedy and things like that. You get to that point of acceptance, and that's kind of, you go through the cycle of those emotions and you get to acceptance and you just kind of hang out there. And again, I think Pressler's right. He showed up and he showed that, look, people care about you, and we want you to have a better life than what you're having right now. And if your local officials aren't going to do it, we will. And what ended up happening is people who had not picked up the trash in their own neighborhood for whatever reason were motivated now to come out and help and volunteer. And they cleaned up their own neighborhood with the help of people who were outsiders. And the Baltimore Sun just cannot accept that people would do that. And instead, what they did is they attacked Pressler and everybody else. So now here's Bill Pulte, who's on Twitter. Never heard of the guy, but apparently he's a philanthropist. And he says, my teammates and I will pledge $100,000 to Baltimore neighborhood cleanup. I know a thing or two about that. In Baltimore, if the Baltimore Sun retracts this article that discourages people who want to help the city when the amazing residents want them to help. $100,000. So right now, the ball is in the Baltimore Sun's court. And everybody's just waiting to see what the Baltimore Sun is doing. And I'm sure the Baltimore Sun will write some condescending article that Bill Pulte should not make a caveat. If he really cared about the people of Baltimore, he would just give the $100,000 to help with neighborhood cleanup. And of course, isn't it interesting that all of a sudden they would have these sorts of ideas? Now, they haven't written that, okay, but I'm just assuming that that's what's going to happen, that they would have all of these ideas about how to clean up the city, when all of these years they've just never bothered with it, in spite of the fact that they reported on the problem. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Ticket Restaurant in Niles. Crazy ex-girlfriend. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Just call the Prime Table to reserve tables for your next gathering.
Experts, your air conditioning professionals, 5-day forecast.
Plenty of sunshine today, with temperatures warming up to 78 degrees. Going to be a gorgeous one to get outside with a little calmer wind. We'll be right around 56 for the overnight low underneath those clear skies. And then for Saturday, a high near 80. But plenty of sunshine lasting throughout really the entire weekend.
See, Dean gets my humor. That's why we're friends, dude. Dean just gets me, okay? I mean, honestly, Dean, how else do you explain behavior that is exactly like somebody that you've deflowered and they won't let it go? So they just latch on and they will never leave you alone. It's over. The relationship's over. Move on with your life. Nope. Gotta continue to stalk people because, well, you can't cope with reality. That was the best way I could describe it, man.
If you're caught by extreme wind or flying debris, pull over, cover your head, and keep below the windows. If you can safely get lower than the road, leave your car and lie in that area with your head covered. Avoid seeking.
I would assume so, based on what the text message was. I mean, the last person that I actually banned on the page. It was interesting because when the Elkhart Truth was writing all of their nonsense articles about me and the Casey Does Elkhart event, even Joe got irritated with the whole Casey bans people on his page thing because he knows that I don't ban people. But But that's what they claim. No, the last person that got banned was a bigot and was harassing people and used multiple accounts to do it. So, and they were warned multiple times to knock it off, and they chose not to.
Vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574-294-5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574-294-5678.
Next to your house.
I suppose I'll do the daily show prep today, just because.
Get oil changes a few times a year. New wheels
Wait a minute.
change out a light bulb.
What? Oh yeah,
The inside is running great. Why not make the outside look
I didn't blog that one. Okay.
Upwood Auto Spa on Edison Road in Mishawaka and Ireland Road in South Bend to make sure your ride looks pristine and clean.
Bitter cleaner. Yeah, like a dingleberry cleaner. All right, Tracy, we'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate it.
Plenty to go around. Or for only $15.95 a month, you can get an unlimited amount of washes.
I don't know if you heard, man. Like, I hopped online and actually played Call of Duty World War II the other day. And I got 2 bronze stars, and I actually came in first on one of the things. I was like, that's not bad considering I haven't played in crap a month. Not too shabby.
Many of you know I'm of Irish and Italian heritage. Growing up on Long Island in New York, I worked at my family's restaurant bar, and I remember with pride and care we put in preparing food. A lot has changed in the food world. Now our nation is packed with cookie-cutter restaurants. They line you up, they herd you in, they give you the bill, and they get you out as soon as possible. Go back to tradition and visit Antonio's Italian Restaurant in Elkhart, Indiana.
So yeah, Speed, I made Alex a Twitch admin for the page because Tracy can't be here all the time and I can't always keep up on it. So
Immediately the food is made with care and pride. And family recipes passed down for generations. Their service is prompt, their food incredible, and Paul and Aaron, the owners, may even drop by your table to make sure you're happy. Antonio's Italian
man, I am 3 weeks away from vacation, bro. What in the world?
Just a short drive from South Bend.
Don't know what to do.
They feed you like family.
I'm actually doing a real vacation this time, so there isn't going to be oh, Casey's on vacation and he's got to fill in for his fill-in host crap like happened last time. I'm actually going to be gone. I am not going to fill in for myself. That ain't happening. Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to keep this computer kind of free of the big gaming stuff. I need to get a PC. So the last PC that we had to get was for my wife, and obviously she's a photographer, so she needed something to be able to run all of her stuff. This one has like all of my machining and my video editing stuff on there, and I don't want to bog it down with gaming stuff. So I'd like to have, plus it's a laptop. I mean, it's a high-powered gaming laptop, but I would like to have, you know, a nice monitor and a desktop and, you know, actually have a real system set up before I hop on to the PC gaming thing again. CO Burrows gets me too. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Let's see. What do we have here? I've got somebody apologizing to me for some reason on the texting. Nobody did anything that needs apologizing. Don't worry, I've been reading all the texts. You're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Got some people asking me to participate in some charity stuff. That's always fun. I did confirm that my doctor will be at the next Pass the Mic on the 30th. So a lot of you were wondering if she was going to be able to make it. I think I had her locked and sealed in as my guest when I mentioned margaritas. So my doc is cool that way. So she's going to be coming out on August 30th, and obviously we'll do other stuff, but she'll be a special guest, and she will talk about direct primary care,
which is the type of medical care that I have, since so many of you are very confused by it and you don't believe me. And I know that a lot of you don't believe me, and I don't blame you. And she will also talk about the carnivore diet and answer some questions and things like that. Okay. Just do me a favor. Could you do me a solid? All right. She's a friend of the family. Could you not just like walk up and show her like marks on your body and moles and have her identify it? Okay. Could you not do that? I don't think that would happen, but you just never know. People get weird when they have a doctor in the room and they think that they can just get away with a free diagnosis for something. Please don't do that. All right. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. I do have to talk about this attempted Walmart shooting again yesterday. And some people have asked me about this last night. Did you talk about this yesterday? I missed the show, and I didn't hear about it until after the show yesterday. So remember when we were talking about how we had Tommy Teach in here at the beginning of the week, and he's, again, an expert with Bruiser Less Lethal, which is a device made for law enforcement and military that is a less lethal device. And then you had, he's also with Fortress Defense Consultants. They train civilians, police, and things like that in various tactics and how to survive certain scenarios and things of that nature. So he's very experienced. He travels all over the country, training people and police departments on this stuff. So we talked to him about, the shootings and everything else that happened and how to survive those shootings and prepare. And by preparing, by the way, that doesn't mean that you have to pick up a gun and carry a gun with you and constantly get in a firefight, if something like that happens. But it could just be medical training and carrying a trauma kit with you and things of that nature just to help people survive. And we had Tommy Teach on. I did the podcast for that as well. So if you wanted to find that without having to dig through an entire show, you can totally do that. But we brought up that good people with guns thousands of times a year prevent these types of shootings from happening. And it's actually really common and routine for good guys and gals with guns to stop serious crimes from happening, including mass shootings. Now, obviously, that doesn't get counted as a mass shooting. And since there's no database of how many times a mass shooting has been prevented because of a law-abiding citizen, it just gets swept under the rug. But the FBI did a study that found that 94% of the time, an armed citizen is effective in stopping or preventing a mass public event. Okay. So that would be a mass stabbing, mass shooting, mass bombing, that sort of thing. 94% of the time, just you, good guy, good gal with a gun, is able to go ahead and save people's lives and actually put an end to it. And I've told you before, the FBI has been researching this for many, many years, and the FBI has always come up with the same conclusion, that armed citizens are a real asset and they are tremendously beneficial. And again, with a 94% success rate, that's pretty darn good. Obviously you're not going to win everyone, but a good guy with a gun stopped a man carrying a rifle and 100 rounds of ammo in Springfield, Missouri at a Walmart yesterday. KY3 reports that Springfield police responded to a call of an active shooter at the Walmart neighborhood market at Republic Road. They arrived to find the suspect wearing body armor and military fatigues and being held at gunpoint by an off-duty firefighter. Okay? So, firefighter, not police officer, firefighter. Police said that the man was carrying weapons and 100 rounds of ammo, and that he had entered the Walmart, grabbed a cart, and pushed it around the store. Police noted that the suspect was recording himself walking through the store via a cell phone. So, good guy with a gun acted, detained him, and potential mass shooting has been stopped. Now, for those of you who don't understand the cell phone reference, a lot of shooters over the past several years have live streamed their murders, and they go up on the platform. And Facebook has, in particular, been struggling to deal with how to remove that content instead of having it broadcast everywhere. Because obviously when it's broadcast, it gets downloaded and then uploaded elsewhere. And victims of the families obviously don't want that happening, nor do you want the shooter to have that notoriety. Cameron, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, Keith?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just was calling to these shootings and all these people that want gun control. I think if Trump were to look at private sales and make it mandatory for all private sales to have a background check, I think he would gain a lot of voters as well as keep a lot of voters. Indiana, at least, you don't have to do anything. No bill of sale even is required for a private sale. So you never know who's selling a gun to somebody.
Yeah, but this, the real question is, do you honestly think that there's any liberal Democrats out there that are going to applaud him for doing that and then move to support him?
No, but it's one more way to make them. I mean, they would just change the subject again, I guess.
Yeah, and so, there's not a lot of moderates that this is a big issue for. And again, the data shows that that's not how criminals get their guns. So there's a lot of people who he might lose. Maybe they don't, depending on the other candidates. But there's a lot of people that I'm seeing today that are really upset with his comments and are not real pleased with it. But, again, we don't have details of what he's looking at either. And so a lot of people are inferring what he means, which they've done in the past on these issues, and he's not really deviated from it. But we know that background checks with the NICS system are a problem, and that it's underfunded, and that there are systems that don't report to the NICS on a regular basis or at all, and that leads to these gaps in background checks being accurate. And we've talked about mental health for 20, 30 years on this, so it's there's some things to be done. Hey, Cameron, I just looked at my clock, man. I got to bounce on you. I'm so sorry. I got to cut you off real quick. We got more coming up on 95.3 MNC.
WTRC FM and HD1. Niall.
Jim, is it? Alrighty, I'll try to
David, where's my food? David is supposed to be bringing my Monterey. I heard 3:30. It's 4. I don't have my food. I'm getting hangry. You know what? I will not be okay. All right? No, I am starving. Starving. You can't go more than 3 hours without eating on carnivore. You will literally die. Boink. Ooh, Eric is chit-chatting about it. Look at that. Got some gamers up in here. Now, I did run into, because Alex, I went back over to Gab. I hadn't been over there, and the update does look good. It looks nice, and I like the new group thing. So I joined a gaming group over there and looked around. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll do a Kydex group or something over there. We'll see.
Saying he has a great relationship with the NRA, the president, prior to his departure on Marine One, acknowledged that it's possible that he could support a background checks bill for gun purchases that may not have the support of the NRA.
Frankly, we need intelligent background checks, okay? This isn't a question of NRA, Republican, or Democrat.
The House has passed 2 bills to require background checks on all private gun sales.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at those games, because Dean, you've been telling me about those for a while. Call David who? Who's David? I don't know what that means, Mom. Oh, that David. Call him. Okay. Sorry. Well, I'm complaining about it, but then I've got like dozens of other things that I'm reading, and then all of a sudden a David thing pops up, and I get confused. I'm sure he's out there doing something. Sleeping, something like that. We actually had really good service at IHOP today. Huh? Because I ate my beef jerky on the way home yesterday, and not for breakfast today, and I was starving after I got done with my morning stuff, so then I had to go eat. So I went to IHOP. I was trying to get the T-bone and eggs, and they were out of T-bone. No, I went to IHOP because if I'm going to have steak and eggs for breakfast, it's cheaper than the other options. And I needed protein. That's why. That's why. But, so then I had the, like beef tips or whatever that they have, which were okay. They weren't great, but... I used to, Dean. I have not logged into Steam in years. So I used to. I don't know if I am still technically active or not. It's been a long time. I think the last time that I actually used Steam for anything was Counter-Strike Condition Zero. So that was early 2000s, maybe? I wouldn't even know my login info. And I'm sure it isn't any current email address that I have.
Now, home comfort experts, your air conditioning professionals' first warning forecasts.
Clear and Again tonight, temperatures settle back into the mid-50s, and we begin to warm into the weekend. Sunny with a high of 80 on Saturday, partly cloudy.
The Forest. Okay. God, y'all got some good game suggestions, huh?
In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Coon.
Minutes matter when severe weather hits.
Hey Casey, have you heard this brand new really fun game that's really popular right now called Fortnite?
Nope. Never heard of it.
Sign up now at 953mnc.com.
It's not like you can make any money playing it, so why bother?
Hi, this is Dr. Roger Pacino.
Ah, okay. Well, thank you, Dean. No, I don't know, honestly. I haven't logged in, so I could try logging in, but...
At Aptent, we believe in patient-friendly dentistry.
What the hell was my old email address that I used forever? It was Hotmail. It was Hotmail the last time I logged into Steam.
We have a rewards system at the shop, and we need your name, email, and zip code. People were like, yeah, it's at this at Hotmail, and I look at them like...
Every time I run into somebody who has an AOL or a Hotmail account right now, I run into AOL a ton, and had a lady who had a Hotmail the other day, and all I could think of was, why would you do
My
that?
boss's email is AOL, but I think he made it when he started the account. He just doesn't want to change the account.
No, I get it.
It's a good thing Matt secured his denture with...
I mean, you can always just set it up to automatically forward and then give people the new domain email.
I guess that requires having to set it up and then signing into Outlook on it.
Yep. Sup, Ian? How you doing?
Good thing Jack cleans his denture with Polydent, so he can enjoy the whole day with confidence.
What did I order from Monterey? Same thing I always get since I got on the diet. Steak and shrimp dinner with nothing but the steak and the shrimp. And then I leave it up to Dave if he gives me the queso sauce. It's entirely up to him. What? Dean's wife still uses the SBC Global email. Oh my God. I thought they shut down Nigerian Prince at Hotmail. Oh, that's good. That is good. So many Nigerian scams on Hotmail. All right, here we go.
Breaking news and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number, 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. Casey, a flight attendant can get arrested for being drunk. I understand getting fired, but arrested? Yep, that's a big deal. Any pilot or flight attendant, any part of the crew that is inebriated in any fashion has committed a serious offense. People's lives are in danger. So yeah, very strict rules when it comes to flying and alcohol and or drug consumption. Very strict rules. And truck drivers think they have it bad. Whew, you should talk to some of the pilots I know. But anyway, I also want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Again, you're looking for something to do over the weekend. Why not go blow things up, shoot targets, things of that nature? Go to secondamendmentarms.net. I don't mean blow things up with explosives. I mean, you know what I mean. So they don't have like a tannerite range or anything like that. But you go to secondamendmentarms.net. And of course, if you mention me when you go out there, you get half off your range time. You also get 10% off your purchases. So when you buy your targets and your ammo and your accessories and all of that stuff, you get discounts on that. And then you might even say, you know what, I need a new gun. And you can get a discount on that as well. Go to secondamendmentarms.net. To the phone lines we go. Jim, welcome to the program. What's up?
Yes. Hey, I have just a suggestion. I would be more apt to want more gun control laws, but I think, like everything else, we need to have a pilot program. So how about we go with a city like Chicago and forbid everybody from having guns there, and then see how that works out after a year? Wait a minute, we've already done that.
I feel like we've done that already. Yeah.
Yeah, and how's that working out for the dead people over there?
Yeah.
Not very well.
Not very well at all.
Think this is going to work anywhere else.
Well, and that's just it. You know, the data is clearly on the pro-gun side. And they specifically, the anti-gunners specifically avoid that because they don't want to get into that debate. The manuals on how they are supposed to influence people in elections clearly say to stay away from the data because they can't win on that. And they know they can't win on that.
No, I mean, and like I said yesterday, they want to punish me for something I haven't even done.
Right.
And that just doesn't seem fair. And they're not going after the people in Chicago that have these illegal guns. They're going after people that they know that are not going to be, they're going to be more compliant. These people are not going to be compliant.
Nope, 100% right. 100% right. Yep. Hey, Jim, I share your frustration, man. All right, you take care.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Yep. Everybody needs to learn how to bury their guns safely. Just saying. Learn how to do it. That way you'll have them when you need them. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Chris Cuomo got taken apart on social media today by that gun expert. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I don't have it in front of me. I was just letting you know. So if you hopped onto it, I mean, he just got obliterated, and the guy was making fun of him. You remember it was about a year or two ago where there was a journalist who is anti-gun, pro-gun control, but he actually knows firearms, and he wrote a whole article about how embarrassing it is that members of the press keep pushing this issue and they don't understand the basic terminology or anything of that nature. And he says, one of the reasons that you've been so ineffective in your messaging is because when you say stupid things that aren't true and are completely implausible, then the pro-gun people have all of the evidence that they need that you don't know what you're talking about and can easily rebut what you're trying to say. And so they were making this point. And then do you remember the campaign? Shortly after that article, there was this campaign where they were talking about you were gunsplaining. Remember that? So gunsplaining was about firearms and then you're splaining to people who don't know about firearms simply because they want firearms, more restricted than they are now and that sort of thing. So they actually tried to make a play in the press for saying it doesn't matter if we don't know what we're talking about. And if you try to correct us and inform us, you're just splaining to us, which again is educating, and you got, but here's the thing, you got people running around. And this is one of the things that Chris Cuomo said today. Why do you need to, to shoot 40 bullets a second into a deer? Of course, nobody does that, but they don't understand the basics of this thing. And you got who is the guy? Was it Castro that said the 30 round magazine clip or whatever it was? I got to pull up that audio here. Maybe I'll play that. What's that? He's like magazine clip or something like that. I got to pull that. I'm pretty sure it was Castro who's running for president who did that, but I got to pull that clip up and double check it. Anyway, to the phone lines we go. Barry, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hi, Casey.
Hi there.
Hey, I just had an interesting idea a couple days ago on this whole gun control thing with these background checks and stuff.
Okay.
And, we all know, here, hold on a second. We all know what they're really talking about when they're talking about all this background stuff. So I'm not, I don't need to approach that. But I'm thinking that verifiably what everybody should be talking about is this diagnosable hatred that seems to be fueling everything. So I would go for these background checks on one condition. To forget the background check, let's open a bigger umbrella. There are certain laws that are never enforced in this country that are called laws that tie to something called sedition. And sedition is when a group of people are made to be proactive wrongfully by somebody with influence. So let's make a big umbrella law to where if you fall into an area where you can be convicted of and charged with this sedition, then you got something to answer for too. Because all these hate groups that are out there fighting, now they got a movie coming out where what's going to happen. Some right-winger's going to get shot. And let's see how they react to that, because that approaches the hatred, which is what they claim they're trying to approach with the gun. We only want good people to have guns. Well, sure. By virtue of their definition, if you got a gun, you're not a good person.
Well, so your point on the movie too. You've got obviously their whole point is, these pro-gun people are violent. They want to murder people.
Right.
We're not the ones making movies about killing and raping people because we disagree with them politically.
It's like the whole thing. It's like this whole thing is like a Solinsky attitude, to where you accuse your accuser of what you're guilty of.
Could you imagine if I bankrolled a film that killed Hillary supporters? Could you imagine the angst and the outrage for that? What if Trump? What if Trump is what somebody in the Trump family, since they have the money and the influence to do this, and they've got Hollywood experience? What if they bankrolled something where people were targeting reporters? You imagine again what the press would do if people were going out there.
Imagine somebody like, I mean, I don't know, pick somebody, anybody. Pick Rush Limbaugh holding up the head of Obama.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it'd be like, they're still bringing up Watergate like it happened yesterday. That'd be in the news forever.
Right. And most people don't even know what actually happened in Watergate. That's the laughable part of it. They just know that there was something called Watergate.
I just think that would be very interesting because, you know, there's all these laws that are on the books based on guns that aren't enforced. I mean, the kid from the school down there, they had him on the radar for years, but because of Obama's thing of not having, you know, people of color on the prison rolls, he was given a pass. And he ended up killing a bunch of people. And now I'm not saying anything about anything other than the fact that the rules that are on the books aren't enforced.
That's true. The evidence is there. And by the way, a new study just came out about that same education policy that you're talking about that shows that it hasn't worked. It's not actually done anything. In fact, it's been a negative impact. Yeah, you're talking about the Marjorie Stoneman kid. You know, but now we're also learning that the El Paso kid, that relatives contacted police because they were concerned about him. You know, and again, we always run into the same things with these shooters. Okay, let's just take politics out of it. You know, most of them happen to be left-wing ideology, but that you know, is a little irrelevant. But we end up finding out that they have a history of mental illness. Most of them are on some medication at some point in time.
Right.
And we find out that they have a broken home. Okay. Most of them do not have a dad in the house. And we also end up finding out that, oh God, I just drew a blank on my my point. I see the dad in the home one came to me and then I lost out on the other thing. So, oh yeah, they were known to police. That there had been contact with police and they had not been diverted from their path. So those are the things that consistently come up that I'm never surprised about. And I always say, well, we'll wait and find out if police knew about this person. And we didn't hear about El Paso for a while. I'm like, well, maybe they didn't know. And then, you know, a week later, we end up finding out that relatives did contact law enforcement and said they were pretty concerned about this guy doing something.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well, it's like, you know, I mean, maybe take it even one step farther back. Imagine this kid listens to, you know, to liberal radio, and he hears Maxine Waters one day saying, go out there and attack these people in the restaurant and scream at them and don't let them in your... And that is an act of sedition. There's a woman who has power to influence people, and she's using it to get people to go out and do violent, illegal acts. Now, she should be held responsible.
Yeah, and prominent...
I go 85 miles an hour, I get a speeding ticket.
Sure.
They got to start enforcing these laws.
Yeah.
And because the bigger fish starts falling, and I just think...
I get it.
You know, I just think that'd be a great idea if they would say, no, let's talk about guns. Guns are going to be part of this law, but this law is going to be a hate law. They got all these stupid hate crime laws. They're going to hate laws. So if we can prove you influence 50 people to go out and beat on a drum, you're the band leader.
Yep, I got you. I got you. All right, Barry, appreciate it, man. Thank you much.
Thank you, sir.
And I said, I can obviously hear the frustration here, but we've had, over the past week, we've had prominent celebrities call for Trump supporters to be executed. We have had members of the press say that Trump is talking about and advocating exterminating Latinos. That is a direct quote. And when you have these things, and you've got other people in the media too, former FBI official or what have you. I don't know if he's still with the FBI, going out there and telling everybody that Trump lowered the flags to half staff to honor Adolf Hitler. You know, it's like, when you do this, we played the sound bites for yesterday. When you do that, again, you sow fear, you sow hate. And when that happens, people don't think clearly. They're easily manipulated. And that's where you get people like the congressional baseball shooter who was motivated by healthcare. That's what his motivation was. The fear that wasn't true about Republicans taking healthcare away from people. And again, it was a lie. But that anger motivated him to go to that ball field and shoot Republicans. That's what motivated him. You had also another healthcare thing that motivated the shooter in El Paso. And, you know, the guy in Dayton, Ohio, while a political lefty and a Satanist, you know, has a long history of violent tendencies that just wasn't dealt with. And these are, when you have a movie that goes out there and glorifies hunting down and killing your political opponents, in a volatile situation like our society is in right now, you are going to it's a call to arms. They keep talking about Trump's rhetoric as a call to arms for neo-Nazis, which of course is absurd because neo-Nazis hate his guts. But if you are going to make a film glorifying the murder of people you disagree with politically, then you're going to have some insane people sitting there watching that who will then want to duplicate what they see on the screen. And all of the research from the academic level to the government level, all of it shows that this will happen. All of it. And consistently for years and years and years, it goes all the way back to George W. Bush, with the assassination fantasy movies that were made about him, right up to the election and after he was elected president. And they had, these Shakespeare in the Park things that killed Bush. They killed Trump with Shakespeare in the Park. They consistently have done this. But God forbid a rodeo clown wear an Obama mask. That guy has to be demonized, fired, even though he wore a mask for Bush when Bush was president, because that's what rodeo clowns do. So Obama was president and he wore the Obama mask, and he went out there and he did his job as a bullfighter. And I know he's a rodeo clown, but I think they call themselves bullfighters, but I could be wrong about that. But he goes out there and he has the Obama mask on it, and the entire country lost their minds. He had to lose his job and be totally smeared and destroyed for it when he did it for every president. That was his job. But you can make movies about assassinating people, and it's okay. And then they wonder why people go out and assassinate people. It's because you keep glorifying it. Stop. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
We're on the Weather Watch 24 hours a day, on air.
And on your smartphone with weather text alerts, sign up at 953mnc.com. Casey Hendrickson.
Yeah, leftists keep talking about segregation all the time. So, Dean, when I was in Vegas, on your washing machine comment, when I was in Vegas, I used to make a bunch of memes on everyday things that were racist. And so I did one with milk. I did one with fried chicken. And I used to make those memes. I made a bunch of them. And it was all designed. It was a part of that That's Racist campaign that we did, where we were flooding every politician who would frivolously call something racist. We would flood their office and their emails and their social media with "that's racist." That's all it was "that's racist," all capital, just to harass them. Anytime they said anything, anytime they did anything, we would make it a racist thing. And the whole point was to poke fun at how they are frivolously making these stupid things be racist that aren't. Like this guy the other day, calling somebody a clown is a white supremacist language. Okay, well I guess most of my critics here locally are white supremacists then.
Personal growth is the continuous process of developing and understanding yourself to achieve your full potential.
Michiana's news channel, would you like to talk to Casey? Alrighty, can I get your first name, please?
Bethel is where students realize that.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Your work life don't have to be separate. Adults finish
Jerry?
your degree and earn your MBA while focused on your personal and spiritual growth at Bethel University.
I'll try to get you on there.
For friendly approach. Claim credits for prior learning.
I am so hungry.
Fucking sucks. I can't understand a damn word you say.
Dave.
And finish courses in only 7 days.
Dying.
You could,
Can you see me wasting away right now?
No, I don't.
Dying.
You could contact Dave and
Literally
ask him,
dying.
hey, what's going on?
Die.
Tell me what my food is, buddy.
Roland says he'd have to slaughter a cow just to feed me. I know a guy who'll do it for $4.50.
$4.50?
I wish.
Dang,
God,
cheap.
I wish. Wouldn't that be good? What in the world? What kind of a voicemail is that?
And I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast and for a fair price, call me at 574-294-56.
Oh, let's check in on the kids with my camera.
I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition.
Been messing. For those of you who just joined me, I've been messing with my kids because I can talk to them through the camera. We have a new camera in the house, and they all wig out. All right, so I see Harper. All right, Bree's in the kitchen. There's Bree. Okay, so I got Bree and I got Harper. Bree just sat down on the couch. Mom's already in lounge clothes. She's already checked out, man. She's checked out for the day. She's like, I'm done. All right, so I'm going to record it. Okay, so I hit record. Ooga, booga, 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 booga. Now I watch.
5678. Hi, I'm Mike Bernard, financial advisor and financial group. Any advice that
My youngest just ran and got her mom. She ran and got her. Oh my God, this is great.
people are looking for clarity and confidence that they're on the right track financially, and when you can connect someone's cash flow with their insurance and their taxes and investments, retirement goals, and estate planning, you have a much
Boo!
or actually, nope, if we do these 2 or 3 things, that's going to line all these pieces up together, and you're going to have a lot
This is good stuff.
for freedom in your life.
My wife thinks it's funny. She's cracking up, and the kids are freaking out. Oh, it's so good.
You could do some voice of God stuff.
Okay, I think she narked on me because my eldest is looking at the camera and smiling. Ah, she narked. Damn it. Yeah, my daughter's showing me a Pokeball. My wife narked. My fun is gone. Dang it. All right. Yep, I can talk through the camera. So.
Did we start open lines early today? I feel like we did. I mentioned something in passing in like the past 30 minutes. It's just been on that, right? I mean, it's fine. Hey, look, less work for me. I'm down. 574-2595, 95.3. Do you want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. To the phone lines, we go. Tony, welcome to the program.
Hey, Casey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. What's up?
Hey, man, something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to bring up. Nobody else is talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
We got a background check system already. There's nothing wrong with our background check system. It works.
Mm-hmm.
The problem we're having is the agency or agencies responsible for reporting critical, relevant information to that background check system. They're not doing their jobs.
Right. This has been a huge problem. And the president passed an executive order forcing the military to do that. Remember, because we had that one guy who had the Air Force record that should have precluded him. And you're right. We have some states that don't report to the federal NICS system at all. We've got some who do it intermittently. There's a whole host of problems where, if you're going to go ahead and have the background check, if they don't have the information and you pass the background check, it is what it is. And then the other part too, Tony, is that the average criminal who commits a gun crime has owned the gun for 8 years. So when they bought the gun, they weren't a threat or perceived to be a threat. They didn't have any criminal activity in their background. So, I mean, how do you screen for that?
Right. And then we got even federal agencies like the FBI. I know for a fact they knew about at least 4 different mass shooters in our recent past.
Yeah.
And they didn't, not only did they do nothing, they didn't report to the NICS system about them either.
Right.
And they passed background checks and got guns.
Sure. Exactly. The whole system is a mess. And you know what? Honestly, I think that the way that we have convoluted the federal and the local criminal systems, and something that would be a federal offense isn't a serious issue in the state, and some states have felonies that would be misdemeanors in other states. I mean, that has gotten we've extended what a felony is so much that everything is getting convoluted and messed up. It used to be pretty easy to track. People committed serious felonies. That was your big crimes, your robberies, your rapes, your murders, that sort of stuff. Those were felonies. Stealing a pack of gum wasn't a felony, but now in many states it is a felony. And the whole thing gets messed up, and it's hard to track everybody. Whereas we used to put those serious criminals behind bars, and if you were outside of those bars, you were able to legally buy a gun anyway. Now it's
mental health history used to be in there too, and from what I understand, they're not allowed to release that information.
Yeah, and that's going to have to be fixed. And actually, San Francisco, one thing that I'm giving San Francisco some credit for is San Francisco is saying we're at a point now where we can't just accept if somebody who is mentally ill does not want to go to get treatment. We're going to have to force our hand sometimes, because we went from it being too easy to commit somebody to now you can't commit anybody. And we've got to have something in between. And there are seriously dangerous people out there that have to be treated and dealt with. And a lot of them are armed. And unfortunately, they are responsible for a lot of the stuff that we see.
Agreed.
Yep. All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you,
All right,
man.
you take care. 574-2595, 9538. Hey, by the way, at the end of all of this, it's important to note that violent crime is still doing this. It's still going down. Okay. You know, we're talking about all of this as if we've had this huge spike in this stuff, and we haven't. Okay. So that's another part of it. Media culture is huge with this. Joe, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Hi there.
Just listening to your comments on these films triggering certain people to take action against political figures they don't agree with, and I agree with you on that. But clarify for me, or correct me, maybe. I thought in the past I've heard you say that you didn't believe that violent video games triggered people to such similar ends.
They don't.
And if you could explain how a movie, which you just sit and passively watch, and a violent video game, which you actively respond to and interact with, wouldn't affect a very narrow slice in a triggering way. I believe most people participate in these games is benign, nothing one way or the other.
Sure.
But a certain segment, I believe, maybe it's a release for them, so they do this instead of acting out. I think there may be a thin slice of the pie that may actually be triggered by this, and we're talking about kind of a thin slice of the pie of people doing these things anyway. So if you could just clarify for me why an interactive video game doesn't trigger a person, yet passively watching a movie would.
Well, one, the caveat that I've always given is that there's mentally ill people, obviously. And so I would use lowest common denominator frequently. Those are people who are not stable. All right. They're prone to violence. They're prone to being steered in a certain way. Now, when you have a gamer sitting down, when people play a video game, things don't happen in the video game that they are emotionally involved with. In other words, they know it's all fake. Human beings know what is real, what is not real, what's, make-believe, what's comic book, what's fantasy, all of that. However, if you get into, live action stuff and you've got a 24-hour media cycle that is telling you these people want to kill your relatives who look a certain way or act a certain way, and then you consistently start buying into that, especially if they fabricate stories like they have been over the past several years, you're already motivated by this fight or flight sort of complex where you've now been radicalized in large part by a lie, and you feel that if you don't act or if somebody doesn't act, you are actually in danger. And when you're actually afraid and you're actually enraged about a real thing, a real tangible, even though it might be irrational threat, you can be pushed over that cliff. And the research has shown that. Now, there are people, this is where when I talk about violent video games, Joe, I talk about the chicken or the egg. Because there are people who are naturally prone to those violent tendencies that will absolutely gravitate towards those violent video games. But it's not the video game that makes them that way. They are that way. And then there's people like me who use them to actually relax and calm down. And it's a camaraderie thing. And I hang out with people online and I talk about it and it's fun. And, but there's a disassociation there because it's not real. Whereas there are people out there who really believe that Trump supporters are trying to kill all of their brown neighbors and are actually neo-Nazis and trying to create, the Fourth Reich and whatever it is. And so if you start in the media culture saturating that with this is what we need to do to protect those people that you care about or yourself, then lowest common denominator can absolutely be motivated by that.
It just seemed to me that this little slice of the pie I'm talking about number one, may be already radicalized and he believes these things.
Sure.
And number two, aren't too keen on being able to separate reality from what isn't real.
No, and I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Obviously, somebody who goes to a baseball field and shoots somebody over, healthcare or whatever it is, obviously that is not a stable individual.
Yeah.
You're dealing with somebody who's clearly mentally ill. Now, whether they've been diagnosed or not is somewhat irrelevant. I would argue that, for instance, I actually read something from Beto O'Rourke that he wrote when he was younger. Beto O'Rourke, what he's proposing right now as far as gun control measures, would actually forbid him from owning a firearm. So he would actually be caught up in his own policies based on the things that he has done and said and written in the past.
Well, I think that may be a good idea in Beto's case.
Well, then that's just it. And if you look at this lady on MSNBC who went out there and said the president was, talking about and advocating exterminating Latinos, I would argue that she's probably not mentally stable. Mika Brzezinski doesn't seem mentally stable to me right now, unless they're acting. And I suppose if they're acting, they're acting. But I get your point. There are people who are mentally ill, and the lowest common denominator can be motivated to that. But generally speaking, even a violent person, while they might be using a video game to, sort of bathe in the fantasy, if you will, they still understand it's not real. Whereas in the real world, where you have this media coverage and you have real people telling you these things about real people, and there is a real potential threat, whether that's reasonable or not, again, because, obviously they're not neo-Nazis and they're not trying to execute Latinos. But if you believe it because it's been said enough, again, that's Goebbels, if you repeat the lie often enough, it becomes the truth. Then those people start, their survival instincts kick in. If I don't do something, I could die. Whereas a video game, there's no perception that you're in any actual real danger from the video game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It seems to me that it could almost degenerate into a battle against people that are for First Amendment rights against people who are for Second Amendment rights. Because the First Amendment rights people don't want their video games monitored or controlled, and the Second Amendment rights people don't want their firearms controlled. Sure. So you're pitting the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we mentioned it yesterday. And I'm sorry, I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna have to wrap up here, Joe. But we mentioned it yesterday. The First Amendment has killed way more people than the Second.
Oh yeah,
way more people. And so, if we really are concerned about loss of life, then we would say, all right, it's time to restrict speech and restrict the press and that sort of thing. Especially with the research that shows if the press covers these mass shootings, we have more of them. So maybe the press shouldn't be allowed to cover them if the argument is about saving lives.
Yes.
Yeah. I got to run. I went a little bit long with you, but it was a good conversation. Thank you so much for being patient. All right.
Thank you.
All right. You take care. You got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather.
About time, David.
Woo! Huh?
He gave me the chip.
I mean, he usually just leaves them out in the common area. Oh, they threw a bunch of rice and crap in it this time.
Maybe they were really busy, and that's why.
Oh, so they did more work, Joe?
They saw the order when
they didn't put the sauce on, but they gave me the rice.
And they went, oh, steak and shrimp dinner. That comes with all this. And, so
and look at that. Look at that. Oh, never mind. I was going to blame him for not bringing silverware.
I saw you pull it out.
I'm so hungry, I haven't even seen the silverware.
It's not silverware, it's plasticware.
Whatever. It could be silver. The dollar store sells silverware.
It's stupid, though.
It is stupid. So, yeah, it's got the onions, and it's got the shrimp, and it's got the meat in it. So, I mean, it'll do. I'm starving. It'll do. It'll do, pig. It'll do. So I'm going to eat in front of you guys, okay? So, Jeffrey Epstein sent girl to governor and senator for sex, she testified. Ooh. Who are the governors and senators that she's claiming in this? My wife says that my youngest is really freaked out and wants the camera to be put away.
Oh, it's only been a half hour.
Gun purchases that may not have the support of the
I thought we were at the hour break. And I was like, why are there only 2 segments? What the fuck?
two bills to require background checks on all private gun sales and increase the amount of time required to process a background check. Both bills are opposed.
Who are the people?
President Trump's attending a pair of fundraisers in New York before heading to his private club in New Jersey for a summer vacation. Stocks closing lower following news China trade talks aren't progressing. Down 91 points. The S&P falling 19 with the Nasdaq 8 points lower.
Oh, she's claiming that she was forced to have sex with Alan Dershowitz, too. Alan Dershowitz is a lot of things. A child rapist is not somebody I would expect Alan Dershowitz to be.
Yeah, well, a lot of people said that.
I know. Yeah, I'm willing to listen to her. I'm willing to listen to her, but I don't get that vibe from him. There's a bunch of other people, like MIT people and university professors and stuff like that. There's a lot of British people that she's accusing.
Why is she? Well,
Someone's trying to break into my home. We're right at the front door. We're going to find the authorities. I'll stay on the line with you until they arrive. What could that do?
CX is your single source for personal protection. Stop in today for the largest selection of handguns, AR rifles, ammunition, accessories, and personal protection solutions. Over 2,000.
Like I said, I'm not at all sure if she's telling the truth. I'm just looking at it. She's got a lot of people on here that she says she's been farmed out to by Epstein to. And she says a lot of the farming out happened after she started working at Mar-a-Lago. So that's already a little questionable. Oh, former governor of New Mexico is who she's saying. Interesting. I have to read that later. What's up, man?
I gave him your carbs. They didn't understand.
They didn't understand anything. That's okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
The right thing?
Well, yes, but no sauce, and then all of the onions and then the rice. But it's fine. It's cool, man. I'll make a big stink about it when I'm there on the 30th. Just for the hell of it.
Just for fun.
I hope you guys can get my food right.
Just for fun.
No, it's good. I mean, I already cheated a little bit today. What's a couple of onions?
What's a couple of onions?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I'm going to disappear. We got a kid's birthday party to go to tonight. Let the kids swim it out. Get out all their energy. Did you go to the splash pad, or did you guys go hang out?
Huh?
Did you guys get to go hang out at... Are you going to the pool or something? Or is that...
Tomorrow. No, they went to the bouncy house.
Bouncy house.
I had to take my cart over to the bouncy house. Got to watch my youngest go down the slide because she is finally old enough to climb up on her own and then go down the bouncy slide.
Sweet.
So.
Sweet.
And then I get to watch the eldest go down the water slide. Which she finally got the courage to do.
I spent some time with Southwest. Just get the appointments scheduled.
Okay.
So you're good to go. You guys
Cool.
are good to go. So
Cool. Talking points, anything like that?
I'll update you next week.
Okay.
Because we got...
Alright, man.
They're going to be doing some stuff. But yeah, it was a good meeting.
Good. I'm glad. I like them a lot. I know, man. He's like, you told me 3:30. And I'm just sitting here like, where's my food? I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I started getting real hungry about 3:12.
Did you?
Yeah. I was like, uh-oh.
Well, my meeting was at 2. And as I was driving back, so the meeting did go over.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm driving back, their phone was off the hook. And so I literally tried calling 7 times from Edwardsburg to the end of Capitol before I was like, I'm just going to go in there. And I walked in there, And he jiggled the phone, it got back on the hook, and it started ringing.
It was just one of those things, huh?
If you want to get back on time, you're going to have like 2 minutes.
Okay. I can do that. Was Destiny there, Jay?
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, she was there. It was a pretty quiet day. I don't know if they had a doctor in the office today. She was just helping somebody out.
Cool.
Because she worked you up, I think.
Yeah, Destiny did my work. I mean, the stuff before the doctor came in, yeah. But
Yep.
good people.
Good people.
Yep, yep.
I will catch up with you next week. Have an awesome weekend.
You too. Take care, man.
D&D hard, Joe. I'm doing that actually tonight. That's what I'm doing tonight. You do the best.
I do.
Yeah, I'm eating some of the onions. I'm not touching the rice. In case you're curious, since I see y'all debating about my food. I'm sorry, but I was hungry. Okay, I have been here since 6 o'clock, and I've only had breakfast. So I'm starving. All right, here we go.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. This is going to be a short segment because I went long in the last segment. So I want to get back on time, especially since that helps with open lines. CNN has helped kill somebody. Now, by the way, they've actually helped kill lots of people, but this in particular is an interesting story. So, an illegal immigrant who received positive press coverage during his fight against deportation earlier this year on CNN struck and killed a father of 5 in Colorado on August 2nd while driving without a license. According to press reports, Miguel Ramirez Valiente was charged with careless driving with a revoked license after he overcorrected his truck while driving on a state highway near Colorado Springs. He hit and killed Sean Buchanan. Buchanan was riding a motorcycle when he was hit by Ramirez Valiente, who came to the U.S. from El Salvador 14 years ago. Ramirez has several prior charges on his arrest record. According to Denver's ABC News affiliate, the Denver Channel, Ramirez was charged with reckless endangerment in 2011 and domestic violence in 2016. Both cases were dismissed by the El Paso County District Attorney. And again, got positive coverage on CNN. Last year, Ramirez's driver's license was revoked after he pled guilty to a charge of driving under the influence, according to the Denver Channel. His probation for that charge was extended on August 1st, a day before he hit Buchanan, because he had not finished his community service and therapy for alcoholism. So, CNN did not cite Ramirez's rap sheet when the network published a sympathetic profile of him in January after he took refuge in a Colorado Springs church to avoid deportation. You remember that story? That story went national. So Ramirez Valiente said during a press conference at the church that he came to the U.S. 14 years ago from El Salvador, where he says he fled gang violence, which, by the way, does not qualify you for asylum. He first came onto the radar of U.S. immigration authorities in 2011 following a traffic stop. He claimed in the press conference that he had been fighting his immigration case for 8 years and that he had never missed an immigration hearing. So this guy repeated criminal violations and minor violations, repeated. CNN does a whole thing about how great he is. They never cited his rap sheet in the CNN piece. And then he kills a father of 5 in Colorado. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
So, in case you haven't seen the shrimp that you get,
Well, that's a nice shrimp. It's like a shrimp.
they don't give you the tiny little dinky-doo shrimp. They give you real shrimp over there. And all of their shrimp dishes are really good. All of them. Come on now. My website logs me out in the middle of the show every damn day. Every day. Alright, hold up. I'll get to chat here in just a second. I know I'm behind and I'm eating in front of you guys and gals, but like I said, I was starving.
I think Huawei is a threat to the national security of America. I know the president is a deal maker. He is working on this. Huawei in the United States would be like a Trojan horse ready to steal more information.
Hey guys, you know what? America does not want to witness a food fight. They want to know how we're going to put food on their table.
You don't put food on my table, you politician.
Hi, I'm Mark Young from Big C Lumber. Now is a great time to update and remodel your home. And at Big C Lumber, you'll find the experts to answer your questions and help you.
I have never been in a Big C Lumber.
We have all the products you need. Windows, doors, siding, roofing, decking, just to name a few. Not to mention the area's most complete selection.
All right.
Our cabinet experts will design your new kitchen or bath with beautiful cabinets and countertops from the most recognized brand names in the industry. Giving you more
Ooh, we might have to ban Mike.
Design service and free in-home consultation.
Even though Mike brought me beef jerky, he says that he doesn't like shrimp. I don't know if I can have somebody on my channel. You know what? It's going to take a lot more beef jerky for me to not ban you, Mike. That'll be the deal that will work out. Doesn't like shrimp. Man. I'm making a bunch of people hungry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
This is Casey Weed, president of Howard Bailey Financial, where our sole focus is the families and individuals we help every day. We're not here to just beat our chest about our experience.
You know what? I got to go back and watch Heroes again. I only watched like the first 2 seasons. I never did finish it, and I was a big fan.
Yeah.
And
I really like that
I
show.
never, yeah.
That's the dude that's in This Is Us. He plays the dad, isn't it?
I have no idea what the hell that is.
Handle retirement pitfalls like inflation, healthcare emergencies,
But
stock
yeah,
market
it's a good show.
volatility.
It has Hayden Panettiere in it, or whatever her name is.
It has you
866-482-9559.
ever watch American Horror Story?
No.
Talk about you. 866-482-9559.
It's on my list. I hear good things. It's just
It's alright. I like it because there's not like a really way for it to get old because they just do a different show basically every season.
A registered investment advisor.
And I dig shows that do that because you can still have the same show, but it's a different show.
Yeah. And it's really cool because it really shows like all the actors' ranges. It makes it enjoyable from me who enjoys critiquing things and from an actor's perspective and everything. I think it's very enjoyable.
You see the way that he phrased that he's a judgmental douche? You know, it's good for people like me who enjoys critiquing things.
Well, like with movies and TV shows, yeah, that's the way I am. That's how I enjoy things. If the acting's done well, it's much more enjoyable for me.
Jess, I have already talked about The Boys on Amazon. I love that show. I burned right through that season. And now I'm pissed because I usually like to wait at least 2 seasons to start watching something. But I really needed something to watch, and that looked really good, and it was good. And now I have to wait for season 2, which will probably come out in like a year if it gets redone.
The Boys?
That's that comic book one.
I figure that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, Jess was saying, oh, you should watch The Boys. I love that show. That show is awesome.
It's on my list to get to.
Guess what's supposed to be back this month? The Man in the High Castle. Yes. Stoked. Yeah, never got into Supernatural.
It's hit or miss on whether anyone likes it or not.
And again, it's kind of that you're dealing with the junior high school kind of hokey type superhero stuff, right?
Well, yeah, and it's been on for like a decade now.
Oh, it's still on?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
In its final season. But
No.
It's just the same thing over and over.
But I do recommend The Boys on Amazon Prime. It is very good.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 25-95-953. Casey Lacosity Amistad just shot a video in downtown South Bend telling illegals to get their city ID cards tomorrow at 10 outside the State Theater. They're still passing those out. I thought that was done, but I don't know. Casey, 3 times in the past 2 years, I have used my gun to stop a robber. 2 times I have held them at gunpoint until the officers arrived. Again, I don't know why people continue to go there. Old Seinfeld joke. 5 people in total have pled guilty. On average, it takes more than 15 minutes for officers to arrive, but when I let dispatch know that I have a gun, they come much faster. Weird how that happens. And he says, I've never had to fire my weapon. Thank God. And I hope you never have to. But, this is the thing. So when people talk about guns, and again, the research on it is consistent, although the numbers are often called into question, the defensive use of firearms dwarfs the offensive use of firearms. It's not even remotely close. Okay. Not even remotely close. And in the vast majority of those circumstances, according to the research, you don't ever fire your weapon. Just merely pulling it out is all it takes. I know I used to work with a female radio host, and she had a couple of run-ins because she worked in the morning show. She was out at weird hours. Okay. It's Las Vegas, so everybody is kind of out and about. See, in Las Vegas, there's about 3 different rush hours in a day, whereas we have rush hour in the morning and we have rush hour at night. They have 3 going to work and 3 coming home from work. And one of those happens to be really early morning, So I would hit rush hour traffic at 3:30 to 4 in the morning, and it would be as bad as it would be in LA, at 5:30. It was just that bad. And so you have a lot of crazy people that work or are out panhandling or doing things. And she used to frequently have to use her gun. And she never fired it, never had to fire it, thank God. But she used to tell one story one time where she had repeatedly told this guy to get away from her car, and he kept approaching her car, and she finally had to draw her gun. That was it. He took off. He bolted. But he wasn't a guy that was just asking for money. It was clear that he was a threat, and he was coming at her. And so she had said she has never come as close to squeezing the trigger as she did that day. And like I said, it's, she never actually had to do it, but that doesn't get counted in any statistic. So when this happens, like with what Tim and Niles is saying, when that happens, it doesn't go down in the record books as a prevention. Now, maybe it should, but again, a lot of people don't contact the police when this happens. They draw their weapon, somebody leaves them alone, and that's it. They move on. It's not a big deal. And most of the time it's because, honestly, there isn't a crime. There isn't anything the police could do. But also, if anybody's going to, potentially be charged with something, it could be you as the gun owner. Oh, you brandished your gun. You never know who you're going to get, who shows up at that scene. And you could always actually get yourself into trouble. So a lot of people don't report that. Now, when they do the surveys of this, it is astronomical how frequent you use your firearm as a self-defense measure. And then, of course, there's those circumstances where, you don't actually come face to face with anybody, but you have that gun ready. You hear some noises. Somebody's trying to get into your door or something like that. And, so they don't actually break in, but they're just checking things. They're, seeing if your house is unlocked and that sort of stuff. And you have your gun ready. And those things, in my opinion, they count because you're prepared at that point. We just had a Good Samaritan get rid of, I think, 3 robbers who were robbing a 7-Eleven in North Carolina, I think it was. They came in, Good Samaritan was there, happened to be armed, and was able to prevent the robbery from happening and take them into custody. I don't know the status of the individuals who tried to rob the place. I don't have all of the details. I just saw the headline today. But when you run into those stories, they just don't get the coverage, right? They're not sensational enough. And that's one of the reasons that I do talk about it so much, is that I want you to understand, especially those of you who are younger or those of you who might be new to this and have not heard this before, and you're getting fed a steady dose of, oh my gosh, it's violent city out there. There's no getting away from it. We're all in great danger of being shot to death or something like that in these mass shootings, which are extremely rare. And I know that they don't feel like they're rare, but they are. And they are not happening with greater frequency over a 5-year time span. It's still the same average that we have had for decades in the United States, going back, all the way to the 60s, which back then they didn't have mass media. So you heard about it. It was in the, maybe in the New York or the LA Times or the Wall Street Journal or something like that, but it would, it wasn't in your city, so it would be down the pages and it wouldn't be a huge deal. But now every little thing ends up being a big story, unless, of course, you have a situation where a Good Samaritan prevents a mass shooting. Then all of a sudden it doesn't become a big story. And then it falls on people like me and you to make sure that that is understood. So when people who have only heard the mass hysteria stuff, they also hear, well, there's a lot of good people who are using their guns too, and they're saving people's lives, they're protecting themselves, their family, their property, that sort of thing. And most of the time, they don't even have to squeeze the trigger, and they don't have to hurt anybody. And if you understand that, you get some parity, and you're able to be aware of what might be sensationalized coverage, which the FBI and every academic institution that's studied it and criminologists all across the country say the media is doing. Open lines are next, coming up.
WTRC FM and HD1, Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
I had music playing earlier, but I was putting in stuff, so it didn't.
Monkey, what?
I would have had music playing earlier for the hour in, but I couldn't get it going because I was putting in stuff, and when it loads it in, it freezes up the entire program.
I got you. Oh, yeah, Kathy, you talk about Strain. We watched the first episode, and I was watching it, and I was doing this. And then the first, Strain creature happened. I said, that's it, I'm out. This is silly.
You like podcasts, so and there's 2 seasons of it out right now.
Don't tell me what I like, Joe.
Well, I know you like podcasts. Wolverine, The Long Night, and The Lost Trail.
Ooh.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Alrighty, Ted, I'll try to get you on there.
He's been charged with capital murder, and prosecutors say they will pursue the death penalty.
It is Ted.
Of course it is.
But, yeah, it's really cool. It's just like Wolverine, not really X-Men in. It's just kind of him solo doing his thing. First season takes place in Alaska.
Right.
It's pretty cool. I like it. It's got a couple of really cool twists in it that aren't traditional.
Are they just character acting the script, or how does that work?
It's
or he's reading it.
So wait, you remember? You wouldn't remember, but radio shows before TV.
Yeah,
it's like one of those.
So they're character acting. So there's multiple people reading.
Yes, it's multiple actors. And
okay.
There's sound effects involved and some really nice audio editing in it.
Cool. I was wondering how they were doing stuff like that.
Yeah. It's rare to see it nowadays, but it's really cool to see. Apparently, it's produced by Stitcher.
Okay.
So, and Stitcher apparently does a lot of a lot of those type of things. So,
cool. I'll check it out.
And it's on Spotify. So.
Yeah, I watched 3 seasons of Gotham, and I haven't watched it since.
I think I watched 2 seasons of it, and apparently my friend who's super nerdy into it, he's like, you should watch it. You'd probably really enjoy it if you could continue watching it.
It's not a bad show.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like I was just watching it to see what was going to happen next and not actually enjoying what was happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it didn't keep my interest. I mostly watched it for her because I'm a big fan of hers anyway. His love interest in the show.
Oh,
who she banged in real life and got pregnant while she was married.
Oh, when you're talking about Gordon's, okay.
Yeah, I forget her name, but
I guess Gordon is the main character in that show. That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, true story. She was married, and she had an affair with him, and got pregnant. Yeah, that's brutal. But I'm a fan of hers, so I'll pretty much watch anything that she does. So I was like, all right, well, it's Batman related. And I didn't watch it for a while. It was on for a few years, and I'm like, all right, I'll start watching it.
I like the actor who plays Joker.
I never even got to the point where Joker showed up, I don't think. So maybe I didn't even watch 3 years.
Well, no, because he doesn't define himself as Joker, but he's like this crazy kid.
So, oh, yeah. Because, like, okay, the Penguin is in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Joker did just show up.
Yeah.
So there's the Penguin.
And he's like this crazy teenager.
Yeah.
Who, like, you can tell, like, is supposed to be Joker, but
Right.
never
Yep.
In the later seasons, I think he starts to resemble more like traditional Joker.
I do watch The Flash. The Flash is like my dorky, guilty pleasure. Because it's a silly show, but
it's a CW.
But it's entertaining. Yeah, it was entertaining. The Arrow should have been canceled 3 seasons ago.
You watch any of Supergirl?
Don't watch Supergirl at all. Not
You watch
interested.
any of Batwoman?
Nope. None of those are interesting to me. I mean, I've seen Supergirl in the the crossovers, but I hate the damn crossovers because I'm like totally freaking lost every time I see it. All right. Well, I feel much better, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for indulging me eating in front of your face. Never watched Smallville.
Yeah.
Yeah, never got into that.
I enjoyed it when I was younger.
Never got into Roswell.
Summer is here, and that's
Roswell was huge back then, though.
That's why he trusts.
I thought Roswell just dropped.
So he can enjoy his steak.
Yeah, it was on forever. Well, there's a new version of Roswell.
That's what
I'm talking about the original. No, every friggin' girl in school watched that stupid show. Every one of them.
And thanks to Paula, her bright smile is anything but a
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't. I set my DVR to record the Sons of Anarchy spinoff, the Mayans.
Oh yeah.
And I never watched it because I was hoping that the Mayans would be good. You know, like Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy was really good. God, that was a good show.
I didn't watch a lot of it because I wasn't like super into it. The parts I watched were really good. I was like, this is a
It
good
was-
show. It's just not my style.
And it's one of the few shows that every season it was on, the writing was good. Like, it didn't feel like they were stretching, you know? Dexter is one of the best shows ever in the history of television, which unfortunately had one of the worst endings. Which pissed everybody off. But Dexter, the show, is one of the best pieces of television ever. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And again, put MNC at the beginning of that. It is open lines. Happy Friday. It is the final hour of the program this week. And that means you get to call and talk about any old thing you want. Got a text message about an hour ago. Casey, did you hear about the flyers in New York? They basically said to put Trump supporters in death camps. I did. I meant to highlight that when I was having a conversation about the movie about killing deplorables a little bit earlier with a couple of listeners. I meant to bring that up, and I wish I had seen your text, but there's a contest happening, so it got buried. If I had seen your text, I would have added it to it because you jogged my memory about it, but yes, I did. I saw it. And again, you've had several celebrities here recently advocate killing Trump supporters or seriously hurting them. And you've got, again, members of the press doing the same thing. And then, of course, you got these flyers and everything. And like I said, everybody just acts like it's kind of normal. But God forbid a Trump supporter were to put something similar up. It would be the biggest story. And they would use it as an example of how he's sowing the seeds of hate and all this other stuff. I did read a really interesting article the other day in which kind of basically echoed something that I had said, which is you can't say that Trump's rhetoric causes mass shootings and then ignore Obama's rhetoric and all of the mass shootings that happened when he was president
And somebody wrote a whole article that said if Trump's rhetoric is responsible for El Paso, that Obama's rhetoric is responsible for the synagogue shooting. And yeah, hard to argue against that one. And again, I'm not saying that he is responsible, but I'm saying if you are going to put blame on political rhetoric, Obama's rhetoric on Israel and things of that nature at the time clearly could be applied with the same standard that people are applying to Trump with El Paso, which is still insane, but people are doing it. 574-25-95-95-3. Open lines, call about anything that you want. Ted, you're first up, buddy. What's up?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, sir, because I'm trying to call you for a long time. The reason that I call you now because I want to tell an incident of my father.
Okay.
He was with a supply for the Russian front in Czechoslovakia.
Okay.
And he was the head of this supply route. And what happened, he had over there a meeting with 3 generals, and his orderly was the one from Basarabia that translated from the Russian language. And they're looking at the map, and suddenly a captain came in, and he saluted over there, said, "Partisan Capitan." And the general over there, one of the generals said, "Smyrna," and kick him out. Smyrna means stand straight. What he told in Russia, the orderly did not translate to my father. My father made a sign with a hand not to translate what they were talking, their own problem.
Okay.
And he went out, he knocked 3 times, and they called him in, come in. He made 3 steps. This is like a German soldier. Made 3 steps, put a hand up, and said, "Partisan Capitan," told what he had to do, and they dismissed him. The second one came in, knocking the door, and he made 3 steps. The Russian general wanted to show my father that he has discipline too. And he saluted, he said, "Infantry Captain." And he talked what he talked here. The third one knocked him, come in, and he made 3 steps, salute, he said, "Engineer Captain." And anyhow, he told whatever he told them in Russian, he left. And the generals turned to each other and said, "Жиди, Captain." Жиди, that means it's derogative against the Jew. They could have said Еврей, not Жиди. Жиди, Captain. And my father said, "What the heck? This Russian said that all the people are equal and they discriminate against the Jew."
Aha.
But, yeah.
Okay, I was wondering where you were going with it. Okay.
So now I'm going to tell you something else. The entire Democratic congressmen over here, Politburo, Democratic one, all of them are anti-Semitic. This is the racistic people. My father said, "I never thought they were racist." He used to work in that. I'm going to tell the story how he worked with the Jewish people in his warehouses over there. He worked with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he even took them to work at his house.
Okay.
Do I have a minute to tell you that? He took one of them over there. He had a factory in Brasov. Anyhow, he was with French girls and a white shirt. And he took all the 6 people, the boy from my hometown, that he didn't take, that was Hungarian, because my father spoke Hungarian with that one. But anyhow, let me tell you about this one here. So he took them, and he met the German patrol. My father spoke German, and told them, take to his house to put them to work. And the German patrol turned to him and said, "Put them to work." Okay. He took them home. He gave them salami from Sibyl, cheese, and wine.
Okay.
And after they ate, he said, "Now let's listen to the voice of America." My father, they are so shocked you will not believe it. That my father spoke. They knew that he spoke Hungarian, and German, but they didn't know that he spoke English. So he translated for them the English language.
Oh.
And also, one thing I told you that my father was decorated with a medal.
I think you told me that.
Of the fascist yoke.
Yeah, I think you told me that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. No, so this is the story of my father. I'm going to write them down, and Now, the most racist people that I ever saw in my lifetime is the Russian and the Americans now that are in our Politburo over here.
So the Democratic Party, you're saying, is like the Politburo now?
Yeah, Democratic Party is all they're all racist.
Aha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of people who have ascribed to, the only way that you could explain the near universal conditions of low-income minorities in predominant Democratic strongholds in the U.S. would be an intentional limiting of advancement or subjugation or something of that nature. When you go to rural areas that are run by Republicans, and minorities tend to do better, and they aren't doing that good in these predominantly urban Democrat strongholds. And a lot of people are saying that that can't be a fluke because it's near universal. So there's got to be some policy there. And others have called it a modern day form of slavery or indentured servitude or whatever, making them dependent upon the state or something of that nature. But obviously, if you were to look at this and not get political about it, the decline of the American black family, the nucleus of the family over the past 40, 50, 60 years has obviously been extremely detrimental for their community.
Yeah, they suffer the most.
Yeah.
Why in the world they don't take care of my people over here that are over here in ghetto, make a trade school, help them to advance?
Well, they don't even want them to be able, they don't even want them to be able to pick a school that is better for their kid and let them go to that school. And it's amazing. The argument is that you're taking away money from the school for all of the other students that are left at the school, but that's not true. Actually, the school makes money when a student uses the vouchers and leaves. So it's because only part of that money, the tax money that school would normally get if that student went there, only part of it travels with them for the voucher. The remaining balance is a net positive to the school that the child was going to go to. So it actually helps. But people, they argue against the ability of low-income people to be able to choose the school of their child. And a lot of those parents are doing it because, one, whether the teacher means well or not, the teacher is ineffective because we're dealing with a classroom of people who don't want to learn. And so you want to get your child to a school where they have kids who do want to learn, so that way they're able to focus on their schoolwork or get away from gang activity, which is what my mom did. My mom lied about where we lived to get me away from drugs and gangs. And, if that hadn't happened, who knows? Who knows what would have turned out? But they don't want these parents to be able to do that. They don't want them to have that choice and to give their kids the best.
And they don't want to educate them either to be smarter than they are.
Exactly. They don't want them to get educated. They don't want, because again, if you're, the one thing that we know is that educated people tend to form family nucleuses. That's what they tend to do. And uneducated people tend to be obviously married less and poor. Obviously, when you're not married, you tend to be poorer and that sort of thing. And we started making benefits for not getting married. And we took away a father's, active responsibility with pregnancies and things of that nature. And a lot of them left. And so, we had the black community. A lot of Americans don't know this. Black community used to have the highest, marriage.
Yeah, they suffer the most.
Yeah, they used to have the highest marriage rate out of any group in the country. And now they're one of the lowest, if not the lowest. I have to look at the stats, but it's so sad because, again, you look at nearly 85% of the prison population, again, predominantly minority, didn't have a dad at home. And that's hard to ignore.
No, but I didn't. I was not home because I was all the time on the road.
Sure.
But
you were, you were there. I'm talking like dad is not married to mom, and he's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I will tell you, my ex-wife was wonderful. I talked to her and I said, let's do like Marx, division of labor. Now, I drove her crazy with the Marx, Lenin, and Stalin. But anyhow, I was educated by Stalin. But anyhow, I said, you know what, honey, you're with the discipline and I'm with the school. So that was.
Yeah.
I provided for the school. I worked 2 and 3 jobs, and I put them in the Catholic school, and they came out fine.
Yeah, I mean, but people don't want you to be able to do that now. Hey, Ted, I'm running late. I got to take a quick break, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Have a good. May God bless you and your family.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
We got more coming up, including open lines on 95.3 MNC.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.
If I could just get him to get to the point a little bit quicker. He has such good stories. The problem is that he starts off telling you a story that really doesn't seem to be relevant for a while. Ugh. Was it warm outside? It looks like it's warm outside. I'm going to do some hammock when I get home. Yeah.
Saturday, sunny with a high of 80. Humidity starting to rise into Sunday with a high of 82. An isolated shower or storm is possible, but the most likely day is now Monday. Monday, scattered showers and thunderstorms likely by the afternoon, a high of 84. Starting to dry again into Tuesday, partly cloudy 80, and 78 next Wednesday with sunshine. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Coon.
The station to turn to when the weather turns bad.
When severe weather strikes in Michiana, focus on protecting yourself and your family. Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma says each year an average of 1,200 tornadoes touch down, causing 1,500 injuries and dozens of deaths.
Local comic shop posting about the Eternals by Neil Gaiman. False. Neil Gaiman is not an artist.
Funny.
Also true. American Gods is by Neil Gaiman. The Eternals is by Neil Gaiman and Joe Romita. If it was just written by Neil Gaiman, it'd be a buck.
Nice.
Can't enjoy a comic book if there's no artist.
Yeah.
Then you're reading a book.
I mean, there's that.
Celebrate the transition of the company from being owned by the Conway brothers to being more employee-owned. And they're looking at it as a great reflection of the community and the employees' input on what makes this a special IP and what makes it different. Look at this, you've got 6.5% ABV and 50 IBUs. So, you know, it's on the high.
Everyone is too stiff at funerals. Jesus.
With that double IPA line that you cross when you get closer to 7 and 8. What makes this special is your hops. You have Simcoe and Mosaic, which, you know, are pretty standard for a lot of IPAs. But then there's Lemon Drop and Azaka hops. These new hops.
I'm ready. Just like that. I have my food. My body's like, yo, you want to go sleep in the hammock, man? You didn't get much sleep the past couple of days. It's time to turn your brain off. Go to bed.
Technically, your brain's never off.
I know. Technically, it's not.
If it was, you'd be a vegetable.
Yep.
Be a very delicate.
Which would be a violation of my diet, so I couldn't be a vegetable.
Dying?
My diet.
Oh. Dying's in violation of your diet?
No, being a vegetable is in violation of my diet. Because it's not meat-based. Maybe the type of vegetable I am is a merit. Maybe that.
Maybe you're a meat carrot.
A meat carrot. That's what the merit is. We were talking about the meat carrot yesterday, and the way that it came out of my mouth was very inappropriate. It was, and the moment it came, I was like, ah, damn it. That was not good. That's funny, Stymie. Does the Michigan fight song abruptly quit 3/4 of the way through, just like their football team? Ah! It's true.
Breakfast is now served 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. daily at your favorite Mexican restaurant, Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. Monterey's breakfast menu boasts the same hot the rest of the day, made fresh daily to keep you coming back week after week. Try Mexican and American breakfast classics.
I got the Cheetos
mixed in alongside your favorite hot and cold breakfast beverages, with 3 alcoholic options to choose from too. From burritos and skillets to combos and omelets, Monterey's new breakfast is something you need to experience. And the best part is you can dine in.
Wow, man. Lost like 3 callers. What the hell?
Off McKinley Avenue, just past Division Street, and online at MontereyMexican.com. Wake up early with Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill for breakfast. You know it's what you want.
Hi, this is Dwayne Miller.
I will say this about Ted. Every time he calls, other people call.
Michigan
every time.
Shannon, would you like to talk to KAC?
Never fails.
5678. I can pay cash and close in as little as
Hello?
7 days. I buy houses in any condition.
What's up, 5 people on Twitch?
Kind of.
Whom I
You're
don't
breaking
know.
up
Not a
again.
realtor or associated with any realty company. I'm a private real estate investor who buys some
Hello?
month, and I want to buy even more.
Call me at 574-294-5678.
Hello?
I buy inherited houses, divorce houses.
Just have them say what they want and I'll address it.
I even buy my tenant will
If you
pay me
can't
their rent
hear their
houses.
call.
Hello?
They on the road or something?
Thousands of dollars in repairs. Great, because I love buying damaged
Oh, there we go. Now I can.
vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses.
I got one thumb down.
Right.
Bastards. I should be able to know who that is and then hunt them. I should be able to hunt them like the deplorables they are.
5678.
One thumbs down. I got 45 thumbs ups though. I'll take that. The commercials are going forever, Joe.
Yeah.
Why are we so popular that we get to sell so many ads?
You could take a pay cut and.
Oh, please, like my compensation is a justifiable percentage of the ad revenue that I bring in.
Said it was. Thought if you took a pay cut, we would need less ads.
When I was fired from CBS and I made less than I made here at CBS, only then did I discover how much revenue I made them annually. I made them 7 figures annually, and they were paying me like $36,000. You suck, Joe.
Well, it's not my fault.
Well,
Come on. Come on.
you can do it. Hey! You know what this song is, right? It's a perfect song for what just happened to you. Trying to start the segment. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. It is open lines. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Of course, you can watch the live stream. Go to youtube.com/Casey the host. While you're there, don't forget to register to win your Black Rifle Coffee. Just click on the Black Rifle Coffee giveaway video. I'm just doing that as a thank you to fans. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just bought the coffee, and they actually had an address mistake when I moved, and then they sent me extra coffee as a make good, and I had it, and I was like, all right, well, I don't need this much coffee, so why don't I go ahead and give it away since we met our subscriber goal. So again, do that at youtube.com/Casey the host. I'm also broadcasting on facebook.com/Casey the host and twitch.tv/Casey the host. To the phone lines we go. Lee, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hi there, Casey.
What's up?
Happy Friday.
You too.
Okay. A couple weeks ago, we were privileged to have the funeral service for the Vietnam veteran, Wayne Wilson.
Yep.
Thousands of people came out.
Yep.
And, back in the 60s, during the height of the Vietnam War, these veterans were coming home one at a time and being spat upon when they came through the airports and other terrible things like that. So now, 50 years later, we're finally recognizing that we should honor their services. Now we have a similar problem where several congressional members have almost literally spat upon the ICE agents and the Border Patrol people, and they are doing extreme disservice with those people along our border who are protecting us.
Yeah.
And, I would like to see a congressional resolution to honor the service that our Border Patrol, our ICE agents, and all those that are protecting us along the border are putting forth their lives to make sure that we can live here in a free America. So, again, it's time that we ask our Congress people to pass a resolution to honor these people who are protecting us. And I hope we could do that.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, and we're going to be talking with some of them here coming up the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, that would be nice. And then in September, I'm actually going to be in Washington, D.C. for the Hold Their Feet to the Fire conference, and I'll be broadcasting live from Washington, D.C. over 2 days there, and I'll be talking to a lot of them. So that's something that I can bring up. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. And so here your report from Michigan, where we honor our veterans. We also have the Berrien County Youth Fair starting up on Monday.
That's right.
Come on over to Berrien Springs and celebrate the old-fashioned way.
There you go. Lee, appreciate it, man. Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
take care. All right, 574-2595, 95.3. A couple of people are asking me where they can register to win the coffee. All right, here's the deal. Go to youtube.com/Casey the host. There's a video which should play for you when you go to my channel. That is the video where I explain the rules to register to win the Black Rifle Coffee. In the description of that video is the link to actually enter, okay? The only requirement is that you are a subscriber of my YouTube channel. But just being a subscriber does not qualify you for the contest. You have to enter the contest, okay? More than 100 of you have. So, again, you have to click on that link. You can get extra entries, which will help you have more opportunities to win by doing some additional steps. But the only one that is required is that you're a subscriber. So, again, go to youtube.com/Casey the host. Click on the Black Rifle Coffee giveaway video. In that video description, there is a link for you to click on. Follow the directions there, and you will be set. 574-2595, 95.3. Scott, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's Scott from Anchor.
Hi there.
What's going on, brother?
How you doing?
All right. Hey, what do you think the backlash is going to be against Trump on these gun laws?
Well, it depends on what he actually does. You know, right now people are upset about what he said. People are upset about what Senator Mike Braun said. They seem to be open to some background check expansion or something of that nature. And yeah, so it really ultimately depends on what they propose and what they're willing to do versus what they say. Now, this is not the first time that he's said things that made Second Amendment people real nervous, and then nothing came from those other ones. So we'll just have to see what he ultimately does. If it ends up just making sure that these state systems are required to go ahead and report to NICS, and maybe we have some reasonable mental health sort of thing, then perhaps it won't be so bad. But if he goes, further than that, he's going to have some pretty serious backlash on there. The problem is that, the Democrats aren't going to put anybody up that's going to be better on the Second Amendment than he is. So that becomes the other thing. And at that point, I guess, if that's your issue, if you're a single issue voter, you're going to have to make a decision on if you want him in the White House or if you want the Democratic nominee, whomever that might be, in the White House. So that's just something they're going to have to make a decision on.
Well, you already see Representative Crenshaw is getting a ton of backlash down in Texas.
Yeah, he is.
Those red flag laws.
And he came out with a pro-Second Amendment video today. So he knows that with these red flag laws, and here's the thing, red flag laws have actually gotten innocent people killed already. So there's real problems with red flag laws. And not just the due process thing, but from an actual literal safety standpoint, there's a big problem with them. So if you're going to propose these red flag laws, you're going to have to dot your I's, cross your T's, and you're going to have to do everything you can to try and appease people who know that this is a usurpation of your rights. And if you're going to have to maximize the protections that you can have as a legal gun owner if you're going to try and do that. But again, a red flag law by definition is taking away somebody's rights before they've actually done anything criminal. So they're not going to be very popular. They've already been very dangerous. And people like Crenshaw they're going to learn real quick that just because people really like you one day, you can make them real angry the next, especially on this issue.
That's for sure.
Yep. So,
hey, man, that's all I had.
Right.
Can I do a quick plug right here?
Quick what?
Quick plug?
Depends on what it is. You're not going to get me in trouble, are you?
No, just wanted to cordially invite you to Anchor Conservation Club again, August 17th.
Oh, is that what you said at the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear the second part. I'm sorry. I was trying to make out what it is. Yeah, no, I love Anchor Conservation Club. That place is awesome.
I will have a plastic cup of Black Label waiting on you. Your ticket's on me.
You know me too well.
Well, it's the first time I've ever had to put scotch in plastic cups.
I know. Yeah, that was an interesting dynamic. But hey, it worked, right? Yeah. We had a blast.
Yeah. It starts at noon, $20 a ticket. We're doing cash draws, 21 and over. And we got, I think, up to like 6-7 people competing.
Oh, wow.
We do samples of everybody, and we vote for whoever has the best ribs.
Nice. That's awesome. Good deal. All right, I'll find it on the website, and I'll link to it. I'll link to it on Facebook for you guys, okay?
Outstanding. Thanks, sir.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
All right, you take care. Yeah, Anchor Conservation Club. That place is beautiful. You should become a member, all of you. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Well, that one, he just
Well, he doesn't want to wait through the news break. I don't blame him. I don't either. All right, so Anchor Conservation Club. Yeah, I couldn't hear what he said on there.
I thought he said weighing anchor, but I was like, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I guess that's why his signal was so freaking spotty.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure what the heck was going on. So, all right. So, pull up their events calendar.
August 17th.
The Rib Tip Cook-Off. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So I'll share that on Facebook. I did. I had a blast with those guys.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Alrighty, can I get your first name, please? Alrighty, I'll try to get you on there.
Gotta make sure your helmet is strapped.
Speed the drug or speed the like?
Nah, man, he hit a motorcyclist, and the motorcyclist had a helmet, but his helmet came off.
Ooh.
So he either didn't have it strapped or it was too loose.
The president threatened issuing an executive order to fight his claims of bias. Twitter and Facebook denied the accusations. Walmart's taking down all signs and displays from its stores that depict violence following the mass shooting at an El Paso, Texas store. It will still
saying
violent video games. It was 5 years ago today that
do one or the other.
Brown Jr. was shot to death by a Ferguson.
Ooh, speaking of violent video games,
His father says he wants the investigation.
would you like to see when violence was introduced to the world, to the United States, Casey?
Sure. The very first time it happened? Last week.
Would you like to see when violence was introduced?
Is it going to be the Hitler one?
It was in 1961 when they unveiled Pong.
Pong? Nice. We don't understand, but people just ran around throwing things at buildings, and we couldn't quite figure out what was going on. You know, brick out or block. Was it brick out? Block out? Breakout. Breakout. Pong.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
breakout. Pong. Pac-Man was. You know, we are obese because of Pac-Man. Pac-Man just won't stop eating.
You can play Breakout on Google.
Can you?
Yeah. You go into Google.
A lot of those old ones are. Yeah.
You can go into Google Images and type in Breakout.
Nice.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Okay. Well, I will do my best to get you on there, man.
It's just a milkshake. Ban semi-automatic milkshakes.
And semi-automatic matches, man.
Yup.
Also known as lighters.
Surrounded by a craft beer,
Arson's a thing.
champagne, and dessert list that is as unique and seasonal as our menu.
Oh, cool. Thanks, B-dubs.
Chef Sean works with the finest ingredients to deliver you an unmatched dining experience that changes every week to fit the time of the year and his mood, while always satisfying your taste buds. Visit Tuesday nights for half-price wine bottles.
Did you see that they are looking at possibly hiring non-citizens for the census, so that way they can make some of the immigrants more comfortable to participate?
21 and up. Explore our menu. Buy gift cards.
That's stupid.
Or make a simple dinner reservation.
The way that you worded that, it sounds stupid.
The way that I worded it is the dang truth, man.
Okay, well,
Woo! My customer picked up his Bursa holster. It's not. I didn't name the gun.
Not the holster. You didn't let me say not the holster before you said I didn't name the gun.
Closing out another rough week, down 90 points on Friday over new trade tensions with China. But keep in mind,
It looks good. Looks good. I like it when my customers are happy.
My thumb still hurts, Casey. I'm not very happy. What are you going to do about it?
Well, you should be happy because the thumb hurting was an indicator of a really, really good knife. So
I was putting away a binder and I bumped it right on the, because it's just wood.
Yeah.
And the ends are pretty well flush. So I hit it and it just busted open my scab. And just, I was like, cool. Can you check out real quick?
You're going to keep bleeding.
Michiana's News Channel, would you like to talk to Casey?
Oh my God, Roland, jeez.
Alrighty, we'll get you back in line.
Well, duck hunt is why we have P.F. Chang's. So Pac-Man's responsible for obesity and the opioid epidemic. He's just popping pills. That's all he does all day. No, wait, no. Pac-Man is obesity. Miss Pac-Man is the opioid epidemic. Because she's a soccer mom.
How do we know that the Pac-Man duo,
what?
Weren't just eating the ghost's eggs?
Or poop.
Or both.
Mm. Is that how we have packing peanuts?
What if, Casey? We're the bad guy.
Now, they're considering it, Happy. They didn't say it was definitively going to happen, but they said that they are considering it. Plus the fear of ghosts, yeah. Maybe ghosts don't show themselves anymore because of Pac-Man. Maybe we used to be friends with ghosts, and ghosts used to be able to do all sorts of cool stuff with us.
Mario post Pac-Man, wouldn't Mario be a better...
Why? Is Mario a ghost?
Mario kills ghosts.
He does?
Who's a ghost?
In which Mario?
In like, name a Mario game.
Name a Mario game? In Super Mario Brothers, does he kill ghosts? Like the original?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he kills
Does he?
them.
I don't know. I was too busy stepping on turtles.
Or are the... Because, like, if you look at the booze, when you're like...
I never get booze. I only get cheers.
They're scared of you? Are they scared of you because Mario's played Pac-Man and he knows that?
Maybe.
It's all connected, Casey.
Yeah.
I mean, thanks to Smash Brothers, we know that Pac-Man and Mario know each other. And as such, the boos know Pac-Man by extension.
It is a small world. Wreck-It Ralph told us that. They all know each other. They all hang out after work.
Yeah, but in Smash Brothers, they're all in the same game, Casey. They don't even have to...
That's true. Do they have a Wreck-It Ralph, too?
No.
Oh. Well, that's bull.
It's not a property owned by Nintendo.
Commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Let's see. What else do we have here? Open lines, first of all. So make sure you call about anything that you want. Maybe if I have time, I'll get to this Pete Buttigieg thing about the press. We'll see. We got some people waiting very patiently. To the phone lines we go. Todd, welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. What's up?
Hey, you were talking about Trump and the possibility of gun regulations, etc.
Yeah, so people don't like what he said over the past couple of days. And then yesterday, Senator Mike Braun had said that he might be open to some new gun restrictions and things like that. And they're not really giving any details or anything. But like I said, they've said it before. You know, they said similar things before, which got people nervous, but nothing came of it. So we just ultimately have to see what happens.
My question comes down to, have you been following how much fundraising the Democrats have been doing off the shootings last week?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, tons.
They're not going to let anything happen to threaten their cash flow.
You know, this is actually a theory that's been out there for some time. You heard a lot of people say that Obama was probably the best salesman for guns ever, because every time he said anything about firearms sales went through the roof, and they're doing that right now too. They're going through the roof. So there's a theory out there that really nobody is actually serious or wants to do any of this, but they're actually propping up the gun industry because the NRA is so powerful. Remember, the NRA sells guns, Todd.
Not just that, but the Democrats have raised a huge amount of money promising more gun laws.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they're not going to risk losing that cash flow.
Well, and let's not forget that the Democrats will constantly fundraise off of things that they never actually want to fix. So, yeah. And they're not stupid. They know that the assault weapons ban didn't do any good. They know that. The data was pretty clear that it wasn't effective. So, yeah, you might be right, man. You might be right. You got to account for the Ocasio-Cortezes, though. They're the crazy people.
You got to account for what?
The Ocasio-Cortezes. Those are the crazy people. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, they're true ideologues. So.
Yeah, but strip their armed security from them and they'll change soon.
Oh, yeah. Their tune changes pretty quick, doesn't it? Yeah, real quick. All right, man. Appreciate the call.
Hey, have a good one.
You bet. Now, I remember back in the day when Rosie O'Donnell had a talk show. You remember when Rosie O'Donnell had a talk show? It was called Rosie. And she had Tom Selleck on. And this is a famous clip. And Tom Selleck came on. He came on to like talk about a show or a movie or something like that. She just started ripping him on guns. And he lost it with her. He was not happy with her. And it ended up getting pointed out pretty darn quick that she had armed security everywhere. She had a bodyguard who was armed and followed her around all over the place. And, Rosie O'Donnell's still out there doing that stuff. And again, these people live in a bubble where, because they don't need to have a gun because they have armed security all around them, that nobody needs a gun. You just go ahead and you use your bodyguard. Because again, like, we all have bodyguards. Dakota, welcome to the program. Good afternoon. Hello, Dakota.
Hey, how you doing, Casey?
What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to share an act of kindness that I experienced the other day.
Okay.
So I run Thomas Stadium Adult Baseball. It's a nonprofit league here in Niles, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was checking on the 8 o'clock game around 9:30 p.m. And I walked into the ballpark to a veteran wearing a veteran shirt. Went to the store and had replaced our flagpole rope, along with giving me some tips on getting a flag donated. I thought it was awesome that he went out of his way to kind of to make sure that he replaced probably 20, 30-year-old rope that was tangled and knotted. And when I went to thank him, he said, "No, thank you needed. This is the least I could do." Share that with everybody.
And I've seen a couple of stories like this kind of pop up lately. And, not to toot my own horn, but my neighbor's flag broke the other day and I went and fixed it. I don't think they even know. It's just, I think that you're seeing more and more people kind of like this, Dakota, who are saying, you know what, I'm going to start doing these little acts of kindness, because we don't have a lot of people doing it and letting it be known, because there's always been this whole do it just to do it because it's the right thing, not for notoriety. And I've always said, I don't have a problem with somebody getting credit for doing something good. And I think maybe as a society, maybe we need to see that more. Maybe it needs to be advertised more, because so much of the bad is advertised constantly that maybe we need to see these positive things that people do, like the cleanup in Baltimore, or like, a situation with the flag that you experienced. And maybe that helps people kind of have perspective that, your neighbors are not the evil, horrible people that the news keeps telling you. And we're all Americans. We have different beliefs. We have different methods of how we want to solve certain problems. But at the end of the day, we are who we are, and we're a family. And we're dysfunctional, no doubt about it, but we're still a family. And hopefully, so I'm in that camp. I think we need to advertise these a heck of a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. I figured I'd let the world know, and being able to experience something like that definitely at the time and now still makes you proud to be part of a country like this. So
yeah, it's such a small gesture, and it means so much, right?
Yep.
I hear you. I appreciate you sharing the story, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care. We've got a lot of people who I totally understand. Be humble, don't advertise your good deeds, but I think we need you to. I think we are at a point in this country where nothing but bad gets attention, and we need to start advertising the good. And if that means making you a little uncomfortable, by telling everybody or showing everybody, through your social media with pictures or what have you, that you're doing good things in the community. And typically you would not have shared that. And by the way, I know many companies here locally do this and they don't tell anybody. And I always say, you should tell people that you do this. People will support you. We're not doing it to earn more business. I appreciate that. But your customers will appreciate the fact that they're giving their business to somebody who cares and gives back. And I said, I totally understand the logic of not wanting that notoriety or attention to be on a good deed. But I honestly think that we have gotten to the point in our society where we need to see people doing good things because it's not shown at all. The press is not interested in it. We've had media outlets, including myself, try to have one story like that a day. And you know what? The other news kind of drowns it out sometimes. And so we need more people to really advertise that. What happened in Niles, Lee called earlier about the funeral in Niles for the veteran. Somebody sent me that story. I talked about it. I don't think they expected it to be a national story. I didn't expect it to be a national story. It became a national story. And we had, 1,000 or more people show up to that guy's funeral. It's amazing. It's a positive thing that we need to hear about. And so, I don't know, just, put me in the camp. I've always kind of been in that camp. I think that you should get credit for the good things that you do. I understand if you don't want to advertise it yourself, but I also think that maybe we need to learn that our neighbors are doing good things. So that way we understand that there is good that's happening, right? And I know that there's some websites that have started to do these blog posts where usually they'll post funny memes or something like that, 20 or 30 funny memes, and they're starting to do, these posts that have nothing but like wholesome, this is going to restore your faith in humanity type stuff. And we probably need a heck of a lot more of that right now, to be honest with you. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
On your radio at 95.3 FM, online at
953mnc.com, and on your smart speaker when you enable the 95.3 MNC skill on Alexa. Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michigan's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table Restaurant in Niles. Does your family or group meet regularly for breakfast or dinner? Just call the Prime Table to reserve tables for your next gathering.
Now, Home Comfort Experts, your air conditioning professionals' 5-day forecast.
Warm and mostly dry this weekend. The next chance of rain is Monday. Saturday, sunny with a high of 80. Humidity starting to rise into Sunday with a high of 82.
Frank saw the Nile story in Oklahoma. How about that? I mean, honestly, it was just one of those things where somebody was like, hey, I saw this in the Daily Star. Can you get the word out? And I posted it on my page, and I told everybody about it once or twice. And next thing I know, like, national media is talking about it too. And, over 1,000 people show up at the guy's funeral and tons of motorcycles. It was awesome. It was phenomenal to see stuff like that.
Pleading not guilty to 2 sex trafficking charges.
Charged with trafficking underage girls, 2 of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers were inside that courtroom.
Oy. My body knows. It's like, all right, we're going to start the shutdown process.
We've all been there before.
It's been a long week, dude.
And shut down your office.
Yeah. Huh?
Have time for downtime. You need the confidence that comes with the commitment.
It feels like a long, probably just because I've done a lot this week, both outside of work too.
Or get ahead of the game with a professional assessment that grows into a full-scale preventative.
Got a Monterey Mexican here.
Advanced tools like thermal imaging cameras can help us identify issues.
Oh yeah.
We even provide 24-hour emergency service. Ask yourself, has my business grown beyond our current resources? Are we pushing our electrical setup too hard and running the risk of shutdowns? Does the lighting facility create a safe working environment for my staff? One call does it all. 574-522-4444.
Man, so I watched The Dirt the other day, which is the documentary about Motley Crue. Yeah. And the dramatized documentary about Motley Crue. And I'm like, man, I'm going to start pulling out my old Motley Crue stuff. Like, I haven't heard some of these songs in forever. And then Tommy Lee goes out there and basically says that if liberals get back in the White House, they're going to make Trump supporters pay. I'm like, no, I can't listen to it anymore. Like, literally a 24-hour period, it went from, I'm going to pull out all of my Motley Crue stuff to, I'm not interested anymore. Just like that, just because he had to mouth off about something.
Start with a transfer-friendly approach. Find credits for prior learning.
B-dubs, you cannot open doors for women, man. Shame on you. So sexist.
That's only 7 classes per course.
I've started just opening the door enough for me to get through, and then I just yell equal rights and then close it. That's what I do. I think we should all do that.
Online programs at Bethel, we understand because we're growing too. Apply today online at betheluniversity.edu or just text study to 45364.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates
Too
to apply to
tribal.
your job. That's why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through
Don't
the
hate me because I'm
first
raw.
day. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
Try ZipRecruiter now for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Ever wonder why Europeans speak so many languages?
Yeah, I had that happen to me too, Roland. I also had a girl that I went to school with for a number of years who was in a wheelchair, and I was just in the hallway. We were in between classes, you know, so there's no foot traffic anywhere, and I held it open for her, and she got pissed at me. I was like, all right, so I slammed it in her face. Like, you open the damn door yourself then. Jesus, I was just trying to be nice. I don't need your damn help. All right.
Get ready. Cash for Trash is back from R&B Car Company in Warsaw and South Bend. With 600 vehicles to choose from and $2,500 minimum for your trade, or an additional $2,500 for your hoopty beater. Clunker's gotta go. We'll take bugs.
Kid Rock today said that the reason Taylor Swift is starting to get political and leaning to the left all of a sudden is because he says that she wants to be in movies now. And that's why she's doing it. Get in with the crowd, if you will.
The Sean Hannity Show, weeknight 6 till 9, exclusively on News Talk 95.
Nice.
Michiana's News Channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Move, bitch. Get out the way. Get out the way, bitch. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I have to apologize to my audience on the live stream today. Not those of you in the radio audience. You don't matter much. But the ones on the live stream, I was consuming food in their face for about 20 minutes today. And I just want to say that I'm sorry. But I'm also not sorry because it was my Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill Day. And I had the steak and shrimp dinner, which I have on my diet routinely. If you get the steak and shrimp dinner, you know, you get it just the normal plate. All right. I get it specially made for me without the carbs and stuff like that. And it's still phenomenal. But then they've got this for $22.99. They have the Fajitas Monterey for $2. And the Fajitas Monterey is one of their more popular dishes, by the way. So you get steak, chicken, and shrimp. All of them. Okay. It's sauteed, onions, tomatoes, bell peppers. Then you got rice, beans, lettuce, guacamole, sour cream, pico, and, of course, your tortillas. But, again, Fajitas Monterey for $2. So you got 3 proteins on that bad boy. That's a phenomenal dish, too, by the way. I used to get that on a regular basis before the diet. Super good. And, of course, you got the shrimp salad. And my boss loves their shrimp scampi. Absolutely would kill for their shrimp scampi over there. But here's the deal. You know, Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill, authentic Mexican food, made from scratch every single day. They now serve breakfast with some of your favorite American and Mexican breakfast dishes. And it is just a phenomenal family-owned restaurant. It's just really good stuff. So if you go to MontereyMexican.com, you can take a look at their menu. You can join their VIP club, maybe inquire about having them cater your next event. They're located at 507 East McKinley Avenue in Mishawaka. And again, the website, MontereyMexican.com. When you go in there, just please let them know that I sent you. All right, so Pete Buttigieg, he said, the press is never the enemy of the people. So Goebbels wasn't the enemy of the German people? Or really, I mean, everybody around the world. What Goebbels did, that wasn't... I suppose he could narrowly define it as, the American press, but at that point,
you're painting a broad brush and you're ignoring the fact that there are members of the press, which, by the way, Pete Buttigieg has accused of directly misleading and lying to the American people. So Pete Buttigieg is running around and telling everybody that he believes certain members of the press, he's cited at least 2 individuals at Fox News, Tucker and Laura, and said that they're lying to everybody. But he doesn't think that they're the enemy of the people. Is he assuming that lying to the American public doesn't make the press the enemy of the people? It seems like a weird thing to say. But the media absolutely can be the enemy of the people. The notion that it can never be the enemy of the people is preposterous given history, because the press has been used by oppressive regimes everywhere, including today, to go ahead and oppress their people. And that can happen literally anywhere in the world, and we have seen examples of that in the U.S. as well. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday.
My name's Dave Titus with International RV.
Oh, I got to get over to my credits. Roll credits. Doink. Here we go. Roll credits. Stuff and things. Stuff and things. Yup. You got some pretty good credits today. Not too shabby. My credits look like a cross today, though, so don't contact the Southern Poverty Law Center or the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Don't want to do that. Don't want to get in trouble.
Don't want a 4-year lawsuit.
Nope. I'm over that stuff. Don't need a big old lawsuit. Donka.
Don't want to deal with a 4-year lawsuit and have to change the entire program.
Yep. We'll be like Tom Likas to start talking about relationships and sex. That's all we'll do. Tom Likas used to do political talk. So did George Norrie.
Your top stories right now. Facing charges, signed Fox News. He targeted his victims at random. That's what police in Gardensburg, California are saying about the suspect.
Well, if lying makes you the enemy of the people, the Democrats have already established themselves as the enemy of the people. And so is the press, because they don't tell the truth. All politicians distort the truth. Some flat out lie. But right now, the media cycle is full of a bunch of stuff that is demonstrably untrue, in particular with firearms and shootings and everything else. I mean, just look at the crap that we had this last week, proclaiming that the El Paso shooter was on the political right, and he's not. So,
Did we get a new vehicle?
what do we got out there?
Oh no, we got 2 keys.
Oh.
One of them's for a 2018 Jeep Renegade.
Well, that's the B100 vehicle.
That's not a Jeep Renegade, that's a Jeep Wrangler.
No, the Renegade, the pickup truck. We don't have a Wrangler. The Renegade is the Wrangler with the truck bed on it.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't know why their keys are in here, though.
I thought the Renegade was like what Froggy's vehicle is.
No. Oh, wait, Renegade. Oh, wait, you might be right. Hold on. Yeah, no, you might be right. Gladiator is the pickup one. Yeah, the Renegade would be Froggy's. I don't know. I mean, well, I guess technically Carl works for us now, but that's still a station vehicle.
Yeah, but Froggy doesn't really have a studio.
They use Prod A, I think.
Yeah,
and then Mix uses Prod B.
Like designated as that's what it's for.
Yeah.
That's where he broadcasts out of in the morning, and that's where I go for the.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody borrowed it and brought back the keys and just stuck them in here. I don't know. I haven't heard of us getting a new vehicle. We just got that van, so we're not gonna get anything new for a long time.
Now he can enjoy the snacks.
You notice that we got the cheap little budget thing, and everybody else gets all the nice stuff. Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
It's a good thing Jack cleans his.
All right, you got a few seconds to go and ask a question, anything like that. Be happy to go ahead and answer or address before we go.
Does this have sucralose in it?
No, it doesn't, person one. You didn't read it. You did not read it. Anybody who says that about the San Jose shooter, or the El Paso shooter, excuse me, did not read it. because it is a bunch of Bernie Sanders talking points in there. Well, mixed with Andrew Yang. Mixed with Andrew Yang. Yeah, that's just it, Alex. He didn't read it at all. Did not read it.
I don't think what they need is more presidential candidates over there. What they need is them expressing their support, our support, and what they really need.
It's only 4 pages, and only one section is political motivation. You should probably take a look at it.
It includes gun legislation that would ban assault-style weapons and limit high-capacity magazines.
2 days ago, Washington Examiner. Has anybody actually read the El Paso Manifesto? Because so many people are wrong about it. That's funny. It's true, though.
It's only funny.
Well, you got a lib on the live stream who again said the El Paso Manifesto, which I read on the air, reads like a Trump rally. So I know that they didn't read it. And the Washington Examiner was funny because I was just pulling up the manifesto, and the Washington Examiner did a whole story on it, on how has anybody actually read this? Because you're all wrong about it. That's funny. That's funny.
Companies that run the Floribama Lounge on Perdido Key filed suit against Viacom and the show's producers. The lawsuit contends the show's name is so similar to the bar that it's confusing.
He advocated for universal basic income, single-payer health care, and he was an eco fanatic. So, yeah, it's... Nope. It doesn't read anything like a conservative, Republican, or Trump rally. At all. Period. Period. It's not even remotely close, man. And this notion that simply because he didn't like Mexicans makes it on the political right is so intellectually dishonest and flat out lazy, especially since most bigotry in this country emanates from the political left. That's where it started. That's where it continues to live.
Right now it's 75 degrees.
95.3 MNC keeps you on time. Weekday mornings with traffic and weather every 10 minutes on the 6s. Michiana's Morning News with Mark McGill. And before your drive.
Thanks, B-Dubs. You have a good night. Good weekend, everybody.
Direct to your cell phone. Text news to 45364.
It's 4 pages and nobody bothers to read it. You know, that's why I read it on the air, because it's 4 pages in one section, which is a half of the page is the political motivations of it. So it's like the Iraq Survey Group report. Nobody read that. Nobody reads these things. They just read the summaries of stuff and they parrot what other people say instead of actually going and looking at it. How many times have we talked about scientific papers and research where the news headlines say something about the research study that even the people who did the research study say aren't true, but they didn't bother reading the study. They just looked at an excerpt on the findings and they didn't report it right. It happens all the time. We devote so much attention into posting things and going out there and arguing with people, but we don't take the time to actually look at the thing that we're arguing. It's actually pretty interesting. We have an opinion about something, and we just automatically assume that our opinion, based on our limited knowledge of something, is true, and therefore we just defend it. I don't know if it's pride or what, but it's certainly lazy. There it is. Person one just conceded the argument. And you notice that person one didn't acknowledge the attacks from the El Paso shooter on the Republican Party that he had in there. But person one just conceded the argument right there. So thank you for admitting that you were wrong. And here's how I know, because this is the post. If Democrats were the real racists, you'd be voting for them. So he reverts right back to a baseless ad hominem attack because he has no substance whatsoever. And he got caught. He got caught talking about something that he didn't read and trying to, again, present the false narrative. So, good for you. The Democrats have always been the party that has supported racism. Westboro Baptist Church and all of their anti-gay bigotry, they voted for Al Gore. You know, you look at neo-Nazis who support fascist policies. Fascist policies are on the political left, and that's why so many of these prominent members of the Aryan race organizations and things like that are registered Democrats. If you look at the two so-called alt-right leaders like Richard Spencer and I forget who the other guy is, they've always been Democrats. In fact, Spencer was a supporter of Obama, and all of a sudden he's on the political right, and he's a white supremacist and a white nationalist. No, that's a bird-dogging ploy. That's all that is. Well, I mean, at least, okay, Happy, at least the Mueller report is a long read. I mean, the manifesto, you could read half of a page and debunk what he was posting. But the Mueller report, I mean, for crying out loud, the Mueller report is okay. So yeah, the shooter's stated reason for gunning down Mexicans, Michael, is the same reason that other conservatives vote for Trump. So again, you don't even know what conservatives stand for, and you don't know what Trump stands for, and you resort again to a baseless ad hominem attack, which is easily and demonstrably false. So you've got nothing. You can pretend you have a checkmate on there, but you have nothing. Absolutely nothing. I've dated more Mexican women than you have ever known. So you can go ahead and you can run along, play with your dolls, and stop stalking me. All right, any actual questions? Something with more than one brain cell? She'll be here in September. And I'm going on vacation first week of September. So, yeah, Frank, it's my ex-girlfriend who's really, really, really upset that I broke up with them. Like I said, the space in the apartment in their head doesn't have a view and there isn't much room, but you can't beat the price. It's free. All right, last little bit, guys, and then I got to roll. All right, everybody. You have a wonderful weekend. I am going to bounce out, and you all be safe. We'll talk at you either on Discord or, again, next week. So have a good weekend.